Well, good day, beautiful people. It is Thursday, September 3rd, 2020, and the sports world is hot. Got a lot of big moves yesterday in the NFL. A cut from the New England Patriots that nobody really thought about or talked about because a running back that was dismissed from the Jacksonville Jaguars down in Duval County got signed to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So the team that seemed to be stacked on paper adds another weapon. We have to talk about that. We also have three incredible guests today. We have Lane Kiffin, the head coach of Ole Miss, formerly of USC, Tennessee, FIU, Oakland Raiders.
That's
somewhere else.
OC at Alabama.
Alabama, I believe. Yep. I cannot wait to talk to this guy. I think our conversation, he and I interacting, comes from when I was calling the Boca Bowl. And while I was on the sideline of the Boca Bowl, he had just got the job at Ole Miss, and his team, FIU or whatever, they had an interim head coach or whatever. And there was a conversation during warm-ups that I just so happened to walk by that was happening by the FIU players. And they were talking about how they saw Lane Kiffin, who had just got hired to Ole Miss like a day before that or 2 days before that. And he said, well, I'm not coaching a bowl game. Fellas, good luck out there, basically, which is what has to happen. Like, coaches are forced to do that, basically. And he was back on campus or whatever, and he was wearing an Ole Miss shirt or a hat or something, and the player's like, hey, we just saw Coach, he was wearing an Ole Miss hat already or whatever. So I talked about that during the game because it was a blowout, because the team he had down in FIU, by the way, very good at football. It was a blowout. So I said, hey, I walked by a couple of the boys in warm-ups earlier. They were talking about how they saw Lane on campus just yesterday wearing a bunch of Ole Miss stuff, and they didn't like it or whatever. He tweets at us and says, well, what was I supposed to wear? And I was like, well, great question, man. Yeah, maybe Lane has just been misunderstood through this entire time. Can't wait to talk to him about 28 minutes. He's back in the SEC. Was there ever a moment that any of the SEC coaches thought, we're probably not going to fucking play SEC football this year. I doubt it. I would assume that they all knew that this was going to, Greg Sankey was going to do business as usual. It doesn't matter what the Big Ten does, the Pac-12, Canada. It doesn't matter what anybody does. SEC football will play football. He's back in the SEC. Can't wait to talk to him. Then we have Terrell Davis, Mile High Salute, Defy Performance founder, which is a sports drink that has CBD in it, and it tastes wonderful from what I've been told. Haven't had it, but I've heard it's fucking good. Am I told to say it's good? No, I'm just told to say that it exists.
Right.
From what we've been told, it is really good.
Yeah, Terrell Davis.
It's Terrell Davis. It's good. He'll come in and talk about Leonard Fournette going down to Tampa Bay. How about Alvin Kamara? Where does he stand? And the Denver Broncos have a couple good running backs as well. We'll talk about the running backs, the NFL. Always a great conversation with him. If you have never heard us talk to him, it is very weird how good the conversations go between us and the Mile High Salute founder, Terrell Davis. And in the third hour, when AJ Hawk joins us, we have dadgummit gosh darn it Phillip Rivers. We have dadgummit gosh darn it Phillip Rivers in the third hour today to talk about, coming to Indianapolis, his time at the Chargers. What are we going to do? He's going to be a high school football coach at some point. I don't know how long we have him for, but I've got a lot of questions for Phillip Rivers, and I'm very pumped to talk to him. Thank you to the Colts for setting that up. Can't wait to have that conversation. Can't wait to talk about all things happening in the motherfucking sports world today, including a hiring in the NBA, some refs blowing some calls, some makeup calls in the NBA, the sports, and if everything. Let's have a Thursday. All the boys are here at Nick Moraldo. What are you doing? Why are you pandering? You're pandering to somebody right now at Tone Diggs this year.
I'm pandering to myself because I want football back and I want the Big Ten back, and the Big Ten is going to be back, so I'm pandering myself.
Oh, so you're wearing the Michigan jersey just strictly because that's the only Big Ten anything that you own.
Great Shea Patterson jersey.
It's not a Shea Patterson jersey.
Oh, really?
It's the last defensive player to win the Heisman.
You know who that is?
Oh, yeah.
Also, the last time Michigan was any good at football.
That's Evan Foxy, Tone Diggs pandering, at Ty Schmidt, Jason McAfee's the Don Viva Lazito, Mr. Mansuri, intern Mitt, and on the couch at Boston Connor. Boston Connor, by the way, for those that think he is an absolute idiot, you are wrong. He's actually a well-read person.
Yeah, big time.
Reads a lot of books. Didn't you have like a writing degree in college or something like that?
No, I majored in English.
Yeah, so... Which
writing degree sounds way cooler. I'm going to start going with that.
That's kind of what it is. Yeah. You started reading The Dynasty, whose author is tough to listen to, but for the books that he writes, people will absolutely love. You started reading The Dynasty for real, and you said the beginning of it is amazing.
Top of the line. Took me 15 minutes to get through the table of contents, but the prologue, unbelievable.
What is it, 44 chapters?
It's 44 chapters. I think it's 556 pages just around there. So I'll finish this like the start of the 2022 NFL season, but so far, greatest book of all time.
And it's about the New England Patriots dynasty, obviously. You're a diehard New England Patriot fan. New England Patriots were in the news yesterday. We have to talk about it. Foxy, please put the side fucking bar thing in. Let's start right here at the top, and then we'll work our way down, and hopefully we'll get all the way through everything, including the NCAA furloughing their entire staff for about 3 to 8 weeks. So it could be anywhere. You guys could be having a 21-day vacation. We'll pay for your insurance, but we won't pay you at all. Or it could be, by the way, like 2 months. So let's go ahead and
balance your checkbook.
Do what you got to do here. That stinks, obviously, for the NCAA, but I don't think nobody feels bad for the NCAA. No. And that is a tough thing because those humans work right down here, but nobody feels bad about them. But that is a sign of what's happening right now in the collegiate sport world. If they don't have another March Madness, what happens to this program right here in the future? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Let's start with Leonard Fournette to the Bucs, though. Leonard Fournette got cut by the Jacksonville Jaguars. And it was the latest in a string of decisions made in Duval where you couldn't help but wonder if they were trying to win football games this year. Get Calais Campbell the hell out of here. Yannick Ngakoue, get him the hell out of here. By the way, he's willing to take a $6 million pay cut just to get the hell out of here. Jalen Ramsey last year, get the hell out of here. Everybody that they had on their team just 3 years ago that made it to the AFC Championship game against the New England Patriots, in which they had the lead, by the way, in half, and then they end up losing just 3 years ago. The entire team basically oblivious. See you later. Get the hell out of here. We're rebuilding. We just paid a quarterback last year. We're getting him the hell out of a town. We are doing whatever we can do, and it appears to stink is what they're doing. Now, Leonard Fournette, for whatever reason, instead of they said they tried to trade him, they cut his ass whenever he was just getting, I think, to meet his potential and in a contract year, so probably going to play his best football. He started out hot as a rookie. Then he kind of fell off a little bit. Then he took a 3-month trip to Wyoming, smoked a piece by probably, lost like 25 pounds, came back last year, was 31% of their offense, so it was 1,700 yards or something like that. And now they're like, hey, you saw every other good player? What we did? You're out of here too, pal. You're good at the football. We're getting the hell out of here. So Leonard Fournette then hits the market. And this has not been friendly to the running backs. The market has not been friendly to many people, but to running backs in specific, because next year's running back free agency list is a deep one, and it is very talented. Dalvin Cook tried to get an extension, didn't happen. Alvin Kamara allegedly wasn't showing up at practice to try to get an extension, didn't happen. So now Leonard Fournette hits the market. He's potentially going to get $4.2 million from the Jags, which he is going to fight for or whatever. So if he gets paid less than the $4.2 million, he'll be able to double dip and get both salaries. He finds a couple $1 million deal at the Buccaneers, who already have a stacked offense with incentives that could go up to $3.5 million, making him make $7.7 million next year. So he gets out of Jacksonville, a team that was trying to stink. Okay, listen to Leonard Fournette's day yesterday. He gets out of Jacksonville. Bucket. Thank God I'm out of here, okay? I'm going to fight for that $4 million. Then he gets to the Bucs, and they're like, all right, this is what we'll do. We'll negotiate a deal for you. We don't have any money in our salary cap. Literally, we don't have any money, but we'll give you everything we got up until like $170,000. That's all they have left in the salary cap. Leonard Fournette's like, cool, just keep it under $4.2 million so I can double dip here and get the money from Jacksonville. They're like, sounds good. $3.5 million that will revolve around playing time and how you do, and then you'll get that 4.2. We're at 7.7. You're playing for a team that's absolutely stacked going to the Super Bowl. It's back to playing meaningful football like you had at LSU. Remember when you were at LSU and you guys went to practice and was like, hey, this fucking means something. We're going to try to win. That's what it's going to be like here. We're trying to go to the Super Bowl, not try to get third in the AFC South. Congratulations, Leonard Fournette. Best day of your life. Maybe Wednesday, September 2nd, a whole new Leonard Fournette. And good for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers getting an absolute weapon. And if he can play anything like his potential and anywhere it seemed like he was going on a contract year with meaningful practices, meaningful meetings, meaningful games, hey, we're trying to win a Super Bowl here. And that might, by the way, I don't think that's supposed to affect anybody, that you're on a team that stinks. You know, you're a professional, you're getting paid to do it. You should wake up and want to run extra sprints. You should wake up and want to lift more weights, watch more film, run more routes, do everything. You should want to do that because you're a professional football player. I agree, but that's not reality. That's just not reality at all. If you go to a team that stinks and you know they stink and they're trying to stink, especially this year, it's hard to want to go out and do extra work. Now he's going to a team and potentially making more money than he would have made, and a team that cares about potentially winning the Super Bowl and trying to win the Super Bowl. I mean, good day for Leonard Fournette, but they said Rojo is still the guy. Ronald Jones is still a guy in the backfield because Bruce Arians said he had a great year last year, which he probably did. It doesn't matter in this offense. I feel like they're probably going to be rotating them a lot. And, boy, this opens up a lot of things for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
You think Tom and Gronk walked into BA and Jason Light's office, the GM, yesterday, and were like, hey, we did this thing in New England where we just signed fucking superstar players who got cut for absolutely nothing, and it worked out great for us, and the entire league doesn't know how to do that yet. So if we do that here, that could potentially help us.
Well, I think what Bruce Arians said was, hey Tom, you remember when all the superstar players just went up New England and played for absolutely fucking nothing in the ring chase? Well, that's us now, baby. That's us now, baby. I mean, I've been saying this for a few months. My last appearance on Get Up was months ago, and I was sitting in front of one of those Kim Kardashian social light circle things. Yep. I had the cell phone was on there. The boys, good light. What good light, by the way, makes you look good. I understand why people use it. The boys are sitting over there, and we had just got done talking, I think, to Clay Matthews the day before, AJ and I, and we had pitched Clay like to going to Tampa or whatever, and he didn't say like, yeah, they're interested or I'm going there. He said, but that would be a cool place to go. And we quickly realized that when people are ring chasing now, they're going to follow Tom Brady where they're trying to ring chase. Whenever you're in a career, you're an established player, you haven't gone to the Super Bowl, maybe you haven't been able to really get going, like Chris Long, for instance, it happened to. You haven't really been able to play meaningful football. Who do you go? Let's go to the best quarterback of all time. It's interesting, right? Because the New England Patriots, they signed Cam Newton for cheap. But that wasn't Cam Newton ring chasing. That was Cam Newton for 86 days not having a job. Now you're getting a lot of vets who are going down to Tampa like, hey, I'll play for, yeah, whatever, dude. What do you want to pay me? about a third of what the other team's going to pay you. Fuck, I already made a lot of money. There's no state tax there.
Brady's in there.
Man, Brady, we're going to win. I mean, it's going to be meaningful football. All right, fuck yeah, I'll do it. But that was always the New England Patriots. Yeah. Now it's Tampa Bay. And Bruce Arians, by the way, I would assume is running a much different operation than Bill Belichick is. Now, will that work? Or will it not work is TBD, but I would assume everybody's enjoying football a lot more than they potentially were up whenever the dynasty was happening for 20 years.
Does it matter? Like we had Lombardi on, and he said that Leonard Fournette really isn't effective unless he has like 22 to 27 carries. Does that not matter because they're not asking him to be like a bell cow? Like he doesn't have to be 30% of their offense this year?
It's just like whenever they're talking about Le'Veon Bell, right, for the Jets. Like Le'Veon Bell, if you give him the ball a lot, like he's going to wear people down, he's going to be fresh, and he's going to figure out ways to kind of his timing, right? But the Jets weren't giving him the ball a lot, and they're only using him at running back. But Le'Veon Bell's weapon is that he was one of the top slot receivers in the NFL too, if he wanted to be. And the Jets hadn't been using him that way. So a lot of people are going. Dan Orlovsky started to, and then Gase actually answered the question yesterday. He was like, "We'll start finding other ways to use Le'Veon Bell." But you got to remember, Le'Veon Bell was not Adam Gase's sign. Adam Gase came in after Le'Veon Bell was broken off and the whole thing. So you have to automatically assume that maybe Gase hates that Le'Veon Bell's on the team and is trying not to do well with him so they don't have to re-sign him and keep him around for a longer time. I don't know. That would be saying that politics matter in football, and they do immensely. But when it comes to Leonard Fournette, he was also good out of the backfield. So if he has that mindset where, hey, we're probably going to rotate here, right? Because Bruce Arians loves Ronald Jones. When they signed LaShawn McCoy, he said, Rojo's our guy. They signed Leonard Fournette, who was a stud last year for the Jacksonville Jaguars, even though they're on a team that didn't matter. Hey, Rojo's still our guy. So Rojo, I think we probably should have paid attention to a little bit more last year, but it was tough because the only reason you were watching Tampa Bay Buccaneers games because it was like, hey, Jameis Winston's going to win a game for the Bucs and potentially win a game for the other fucking team too. I mean, this is worth watching. So I think Leonard Fournette will be able to adjust, and he can catch the ball, and he can run well. And in a dump down type offense that is probably going to be run there because everything's deep and then check down, I mean, he's going to have a big time. And if they have more bodies back there, and B.A. alluded to this yesterday, running back is a position where the more good ones you have, the better. That is just going to be, they have the chance now to run like a Kansas City Chiefs type offense where they have so many weapons and you only have 11 people on the field. How many people are you going to double? How many people can you take away from the game? And they got Gronk, O.J. Howard, and another guy, Cam Braid or whatever. At offensive line, they got A.Q. Shipley heading them up, even though he's not been announced a starter ever, and we're just kind of saying that. But at running back now, they have all the guys. Wide receiver, they have all the guys. I mean, there is a lot of weapons and a lot of people that they can completely fucking distract and move. And you got the guy who doesn't turn the ball over, by the way, playing quarterback and knows the defense before the defense even knows the defense. I mean, that seems like it's a little bit of a rigged game at this point. But boy, still got to get through the Saints. Hey, still got to get through the Saints down there in the NFC
The Bucs
South.
are going to the Super Bowl. And, I mean, you mentioned how Lenny Fournette, he's, like, remotivated. He can run sprints with kind of like a purpose. On the opposite end of the spectrum, what are the Jaguars like now? Like, are they just walking around?
They were already.
Bro, they got Bud Lights.
That's right.
Yeah, you got Bud Light.
Mr. Minshew.
Listen, Gardner Minshew is another guy where I'm a fan of. But, boy, that's going to be tough to succeed down there. I mean, now this could be clipped, by the way. This could be clipped, what I'm saying right now. But they suck, right? Like on paper, they suck. I mean, it is going to be tough to sell tickets. Not that they have to because we're in the middle of COVID-19, but that would be a tough team to sell to your fan base. Like, hey, this is what we got. You remember the mustache and jorts and the headband? Still got him. Okay, still got him. But, think about it, we can't name another motherfucker on the team. Okay, you can't either. Whenever NFL Inside Training Camp goes on NFL Network, you see Gardner Minshew, they show a lot of him, and he's playing catch with guys who honestly probably assume they're potentially selling insurance at this point.
Yeah.
They're now our starters. But what we're going to do with Doug Marrone is we're going to get a team that comes together and gels together, and we're going to play good football for Duval County and London, England, which is also our home. I don't know what they're doing down there. I don't know what they're doing. But nobody wants to put shitty film out there. They want to make money. So the players are still going to go hard because they understand, for a lot of them, that literally no other team would they be a starter. But here they are in Jacksonville, potentially getting a chance to get an opportunity. And maybe they'll be able to, win 7 to 9 games, 6 to 9 games
in the next 3 years.
Maybe they'll be able to do that. Maybe Gardner Minshew, Ryan Fitzpatrick's that thing, and just wills them to victory somehow. But boy, I don't see it. I just don't know how the fuck that happened.
Can I ask you about JFF's legacy?
Yeah, absolutely.
So this year, it was going to be, we're going to see how Bill did without JFF and how JFF did without Bill. Okay?
Yep, absolutely.
And now
No, it's FJF.
Johnny fucking Foxborough. I kind of like that one.
Yeah, me too. But it wasn't quoted as that. It was quoted as fucking Johnny Foxborough.
Yeah, but I thought we were out on him in that quote.
Well, the quote I guess goes back from the beginning. But you're talking about Johnny Foxborough right now?
Yeah.
Okay. How good did you feel, by the way, saying that, knowing that a lot of people didn't know what you're referring to, but when they got it, you were going to feel really good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does this say they win the Super Bowl this year? I know what the Brady haters are going to say. They're going to be like, well, he did it with easily the best surrounding cast in the league. Does that hurt his legacy at all when he's going up? And when they were trying to figure out, did Tom do it without Bill? Did Bill do it without Tom? Does that hurt it at all?
Oh, and then they're like, well, Tom did it with the best coach of all time. Tom also did it with the best supporting cast that he could potentially have. But is that a better supporting cast than the Chiefs? That's a sports debate. That's a sports show.
I don't know.
So when I look at that Chiefs offense, like that is classic.
Very
sports.
comparable.
Not with Tom,
That's going to
though.
happen tomorrow morning on one of those shows for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody should tweet them and let them know that the debate we would like to hear, and the debate they should be having, is who has the best supporting cast, Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady? Because those are two legit MVP contenders at this point, and who is going to be able to do what? I mean, that is a real question there. I mean, you got two tight ends, right? So I guess that helps for the Buccaneers.
3. Really.
Better running backs.
Each team's got 2 stud wide receivers.
I'd say Mahomes in the Buccaneers offense is better than Brady in the Chiefs offense. Because Mahomes can throw it way further than Brady can. So
and Mahomes
Hill,
extends plays.
Yeah, exactly.
Extends plays for
With
a lot
Hill.
longer time,
Yeah.
which will be interesting with Bruce Arians' offense, because Bruce Arians' offense is a lot of it has to develop stuff. Now, granted, they got A.Q. Shipley down there in that offensive line room. He's going to have nothing but fucking time back there. Go ahead and park it, Tom. Go ahead and get to the top of your drop and go ahead and park it. The spark plug from Moon Township, A.Q. Shipley and the boys will be able to figure it out. But Mahomes' extension of plays, I think, does play into quite a factor. I don't know if they have Tyreek Hill, but I don't know if they have Mike Evans.
Correct.
So, I mean, that is a real good debate right there, and that is something that will be talked about.
Godwin is levels above their number 2.
Watkins, huh?
Levels above.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
How about McCole Hardman?
Again, he's got burners, but, I mean, is he as good as a route runner and catcher as Godwin is? Godwin was a what, top 5?
3.
I don't know. They
top
scored
3?
like 24 points in like one quarter or whatever.
Absolutely, but
I would assume that
much is
somebody
that-
can run a fucking route.
Yeah. Well, how much is that? Well, yeah, straight. How much is that Mahomes extending a play? He just turns around and runs.
Only one
I'm
route
just
on the
saying,
route
no,
tree.
I'm just saying.
There's only one limb this
I'm just
guy's
saying.
got. The route tree's only one fucking route.
And Mahomes can throw it 70 yards in the air. Brady cannot.
Well, the interesting thing is Tyreek Hill takes the attention from a defense immediately. Does Mike Evans do that? Mike Evans, though, does it for a different reason, right?
Yeah.
So it's like those are
big
two
body.
very interesting things. I mean, this is a good debate, I would assume, that people would have if they were very passionate about debating about things that can't really be determined because situations are so fucking different. But that seems to be the sports talk world that we potentially fall into.
No, before AQ got there, obviously the Chiefs had the better O-line. But now that AQ's there, I don't know.
Yeah, Alan Quay Shipley really turns things around. Yeah, it's a factual statement. But the Chiefs' O-line is
Pretty good.
Very good.
very good. And they're together for, I think, another 2 years or something like that. So they can.
No doctor this year, though.
Yeah, he did opt out.
The doctor opted out to save the world, which, by the way, shout out to him. I think he's Canadian, by the way.
He is.
Yeah, he is.
Yep.
So up there.
French Canadian, I think.
The
Oh, God.
the rules
Free
that
healthcare.
No, not only free healthcare, but the rules Canada has been putting in, right? One medical professional from Canada, Nick, correct me if I'm wrong here, said that people should have sex with masks on, and they shouldn't kiss while having sex. They should just do the deed to help stop the spread of the coronavirus. In Canada, this is Canada's medical.
Not just one doctor, Pat. This is Canada's chief public health officer. So this is like the Fauci of Canada.
Well, Fauci can't speak because he's got the voice thing.
Laryngitis.
He lost his voice thing. That's a real shame that
or
Fauci lost his voice thing back
But
there.
yeah, if you're getting in the fuck sack, you want to mask up
That's what
in Canada.
in Canada they're saying.
Don't you dare, Patrick. Don't you dare blaspheme me.
Hey, it seems to be convenient timing, Fauci. You just can't speak anymore.
There's no nodes, there's no polyps. I'm in perfect health, ready to guide our nation back to prominence.
That sounds. I literally just read a headline that you can't speak. Like are not allowed to speak right now.
No. Miley Cyrus has voice issues. I'm fine. I'm guiding the country.
Jesus. Thanks, Fauci. Really.
Take a good look at Fauci when he comes back. Make sure it's the same person, too.
Oh,
Just saying.
Connor, not getting into
I'm
it.
just
not
saying.
getting into it. Well, the CDC said the vaccine's coming in October, and then the NIH said, maybe
not so
It's
fast.
This is just,
Conceivable.
I mean, it never
Conceivable.
ends. It never ends. Yup, no. Yup, no. Sky blue, sky red. How the fuck are you two the same? I don't understand it. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. But now, my wife and I, although we are not Canadians, I will be masked up like fucking Bane tonight in the sack. Just to be safe.
Just know she went on to say that the lowest risk sexual activity during the pandemic includes yourself alone.
That's
Well, that's not sex.
good
that is,
science.
Jerking your baloney.
that's what that is. And there's
Flogging
people
hot.
that are addicted to that.
The Big Ben method. As some call it.
Oh yeah, because he's the only one.
Well, he's the only one. Big Ben Boner is the one coming out
I
here.
mean, your
talking
walls
about
are
it.
plastered with it.
Don't
What
bring a
were we
black light
talking
in,
about?
but all right.
This worst sports
Chiefs
show of all time.
Bucks.
Talking about how
the-
one O-lineman opted out to go help people
so
die
they're
from a
in Canada,
pandemic.
'cause
The other
Canada-
one,
Chiefs Bucks. 'Cause
the other one
Canada-
went to South Florida to try and get a Super Bowl.
So the offensive lineman for the Kansas City Chiefs, the doctor,
Yep.
is saving the world. Probably in Canada, back in Canada.
Yep.
I would assume so.
So he and his
is.
wife are having mass sex right now, right?
yes.
Quebec.
Which, by the way, we appreciate him doing that. I think
Yeah.
it's a very honorable thing if you have the ability to go help. But that's really the only thing. The 18 and 22 starters are back for that Chiefs team. And that defense, by the way, towards the end of the year, now granted, they were down 21 points at one point in a game in the playoffs. But whenever Patrick Mahomes gets hot, people forget that you need 3 and outs on the other side to get the ball back so you can continue to go on that run. That defense is opportunistic. I think that defense is opportunistic over there. How about the Buccaneers defense? When you look at the Buccaneers defense, at the beginning of the year, they were what? Shit. And then by the end, everybody's saying they were much better. Now, I have not looked at the stats of the Buccaneers defense. I like Todd Bowles as a defense coordinator. The guy's a stud. But everybody that we've talked to who has watched the film of the Buccaneers defense goes, hey, that defense by the end of the year, they knew what the fuck they were doing. They were young at the beginning of the year. They couldn't keep up. Now they're flying around. I mean, it seems like those two are potentially on a collision course if you look strictly on paper. Now, who knows what's going to happen with COVID, because all you need is what? One outbreak or one person fucking without a mask and the entire team gets it. Now you don't have an entire starting offensive line because they're all in a room together, which could potentially happen. They're trying to put in protocols to save that from happening, or a false positive coming out, like 77 were done just a couple weeks ago at a one particular lab in New Jersey. But it feels like on paper, those two are in a collision course. And I think on FanDuel right now, futures bet,
Yep.
Chiefs playing Buccaneers in a Super Bowl is plus
2,900.
I mean, that was something I put money on. $97.90 I put on.
That was the max.
And you're winning.
I don't know if it was my max or why that. I don't know what happened there. But I would have liked to put maybe,
9,700.
because I am a rather big on paper guy, because I like to think that everybody's going to show up at their best every single day, especially with AQ Shipley down in that building kind of guiding the troops. But boy, it seems like the teams on paper don't always end up working out.
Also, how much of an advantage or how much different will it be for the Bucs defense when you don't have a quarterback who threw 30 interceptions, having to deal with that?
Yeah, field position. I obviously talk about this because I was a punter and a kickoff guy. So I was literally directly involved in field position on our side, as opposed to returners who obviously help. But for us, field position was my big selling point and leverage point when I was trying to negotiate a contract, right? You can go look it up, by the way, see how the Colts did during my tenure. Pretty good. But field position can be fucked completely if you have a turnover machine, because those interceptions are normally points, right? If you get a pick, normally it's points. Now, granted, if you're in the red zone and they get tackled immediately somehow an interception, everything else, normally you're in the middle of the field, the alumni section 40 to 40, or in the other way. In a lot of pick sixes for Jameis last year. I mean, there was just that defense, I would assume, will be reprieved greatly if they get a chance to punt the ball every once in a while, to kind of flip the field, give them some room so they can make a stand. Because whenever your backs are against the wall, it's kind of hard to get your footing, especially whenever it's a quick change, which is what turnovers are. Everybody can talk about how the offense and Jameis threw for whatever and led the NFL and all of that. But the defense, if you ask them if they're happy Tom Brady's there, I bet you they're fucking ecstatic to have him there, because they know that he's not going to turn the ball over as much, even though history tells us that Bruce Arians' offense, if you're the first-year quarterback in there, you're going to turn the ball over. But I just feel like that defense is going to get a chance to play a little bit. Maybe their second year going into the system with Bowles, they know it a little bit better. I feel like that Buccaneers team is, hey, I really like the sign of Leonard Fournette, and the more and more we think about it. Now, granted, I've been choo-chooing that train pretty hard since the beginning because I love Bruce Arians, love Tom Moore, Clyde Christensen, the coaches down there. Big Tom Brady fan, obviously, like what he's about. But that team just seems like they're going all in right now. They only got $170,000 in cap space left. They're going all in right now to try to get a win. And that's the type of team that I like to pull for. It's the teams that's why I like the Yankees.
Yeah.
When the Yankees were spending more money than everybody else.
Yankees suck.
Well, you have a team in your city that was
Also
actually
stinks.
No, your team was good. We're from Pittsburgh. Pirates stunk. So it was like, if I want to watch baseball at all, I would like to watch something that's a little bit enjoyable. It seems like this team's trying to win more than fucking everybody else. That's the team I want to pull for, the team that wants to win. It feels like Tampa Bay Buccaneers are doing that. Chiefs are obviously doing that. In New England, you always have to just think, well, they're always, they got Bill Belichick. So they can win regardless.
For their defense, they were 29th in points per game, but a lot of that can be because of turnovers. Because in other stats, yards per play, they were 7th. Third down conversion, 4th in rushing
third
defense.
down.
Rushing defense, they were top 5 in everything. Their secondary is where they're, I guess, a little susceptible.
Which in the NFC South is it problematic.
Yeah. Need a good second.
And yards per play could also be because they didn't have a lot of field to work with every time because the turnovers that were happening.
True.
Same with rushing yards, too.
So there's a couple things.
Red zone, they were 4th, too.
Red zone and third down, all that matter. Ooh. Well, more matters because they didn't win Super Bowl last year. But you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying.
So just to clear this up, they cannot afford Antonio Brown.
No.
Dang.
Well, AB's also not playing football this year. He's got a film career to worry about.
Gee.
Good film, lucrative.
Lucrative. It is
More lucrative than Gronk, for sure.
Not doing it.
Tony Sins.
We're not getting
Come
into
on,
that.
I'm not doing that.
Is he on?
Oh, he's getting ready.
Is that connecting?
What does that mean?
Oh, he's getting comfy. He's getting his chair right now. Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Coach.
Hey guys, how we doing?
There he is. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now, head coach for the Ole Miss football team, University of Mississippi. Ladies and gentlemen, legendary Lane Kiffin. Yeah! Let's go! Let's go!
Legendary. Feel good.
Hey, you are legendary, Lane. I mean, legit, you know that, I would assume, at this point, that everybody that knows anything about football knows of Lane Kiffin. Everybody that knows anything about football has an opinion on Lane Kiffin. And I want to let you know, I can't wait to chat with you right now because I have looked on as a spectator, as a fan of Lane Kiffin.
Well, thank you. You're one of the few that I think are fans. I think they do watch.
Well, okay, so let's talk about that. When did you stop caring about what anybody thought? Was that early in your coaching career? Did you learn that from your dad that you can't take anything serious, or did that happen throughout some of your trials and tribulations wherever you were?
Well, I think initially I did, like I would guess most people did or do. And then you just kind of get numb to it, after you go through a number of things. And I don't know when I figured it out, but just figured out like, all right, I can't. I used to, when I was young, read the articles about you and what they say and all that, the next day after a game and all this thing, just figured out, all right, that don't matter. You can't please the outside people and quit worrying about it. Worry about what matters, which are the people internally that you work with and that you coach.
By the way, that's every profession, I would assume, that has any sort of spotlight on it goes through that. I remember being very upset that people hated me. And then 27 death threats happened. I was like, well, fuck everybody. You know what I mean, Coach? You got to do that, Coach.
Okay, I take it we're on cable.
Yeah, we're good. We're on the internet. We're on the internet, okay. Coach. Yeah.
All right.
How pumped were you to get back into the SEC? I mean, obviously it's different down there, but now you're getting a chance to go back in there with a team that has a quarterback that is a freak athlete. I got a chance to watch him last year at the Egg Bowl, and that team that was really, I think it was playing great football and very young. How pumped were you to get back into the SEC, especially with that team?
Well, it wasn't just about getting back to the SEC. It was making sure that the job was a good fit and that you could win. And it was easy for me because I remembered Ole Miss from at Alabama. We only lost 2 regular season games the 3 years that we were there. And they were both to Ole Miss. So, and so it wasn't one of these like, oh, come take it a place it's never won. 5 years ago, we won the Sugar Bowl. So it was a place I'd seen firsthand. My brother was a D-line coach here at the time too. So I'd been to the town and visited it before and stuff. And so I knew there was a formula here to win. We just had to get it back.
I heard it's a great place. I heard Dante Moncrief went there, and he was one of my teammates for a long time. And he talked about how he loved going to school there. Everybody seems to enjoy the culture and environment down there.
Yeah, it really is. I think I saw something, that we put out on social media the other day. #1 college town in America, and so it really is a neat place. And the people are all, like most of the South. The people are amazing and awesome and so friendly. So it's good to be back.
I would assume Morgantown, West Virginia, just wasn't allowed to be a part of that conversation. I would just assume that was the case, Lane. Was there ever a thought that football season was going to be affected by you in the SEC? Because I think Greg Sankey came out very early, and he was like, hey, we're going to delay. We're going to kind of let the facts come in a little bit more, see what we can learn. And then the Big Ten, Ivy League, I guess, comes in first, and they postpone. Then the Big Ten, then the Pac-12. Was there ever a thought in the SEC coach's mind that this was potentially not going to happen, or were you guys understanding that the SEC was going to make something happen regardless?
No, I think there were times that we didn't think it was going to happen, or I'll speak for myself. There were times that I didn't. I thought when it first started, I was like, there's no way, because we didn't know everything we know now. And I was, how are we going to ever do meetings, if everybody's going to get it? And we used to think that everybody got it no matter what, if you were around people. So I did not think for a while it would, because I didn't understand, at first it was like, well, so if a quarterback gets it, all the quarterbacks are going to get shut down, for tracing. And so how would you ever play? And then all of a sudden you're in the middle of the week. And certainly in the NFL, I didn't think was going to play because, you got 53 guys. You got some people have 2 quarterbacks, some have 3. So if they get shut down, what are you going to do? But obviously we've learned a lot more since then.
What have been the protocols and what have you guys learned that won't happen? Because I feel like that is still a thought that me as an outsider who's not in the building kind of thinks, because you see what happened to the Marlins in the Marlins situation where they got 22 people got it, and that's allegedly because of 2 guys making one mistake and then it kind of spreading rather quickly. What is the protocols that is like, hey, if one person gets it, let's make sure that everybody else doesn't get it? Because I think from the outside looking in, I assume that was the case as well, which is what you guys thought before you got into the protocols.
Yeah, they're still going back and forth on that as of now. If you have a contact, that they deem that you had, too much time within 6 feet, you're shut down for 14 days. And so we're going through that now. We'll get a test back in the morning, and, a safety will be down, and then they'll talk to him and talk to the people around him and shut down 2 or 3 more. You got practice in an hour. So, this isn't 100%. We still got a ways to go to get through this, because there are some teams right now in the SEC. I heard from 2 coaches today that there's no way they could play if they had a game this week.
That's alarming, I think, because we're only like a week and a half out, 2 weeks out, whatever it is for the SEC. What is is it testing multi-times a week? Like what have been because we get a chance to see Hard Knocks, the first couple episodes where they show the guys getting tested every time they go in there. And then in the locker room, there's like plexiglass between it. It's like hockey boards and every single thing. Then there's Zoom calls and spread out meetings. Is that how you guys have been operating as well?
Similar, not quite as much stuff, but we are similar. We're spaced out. We do, multiple meetings for like special teams. Defense goes in, then offense goes in. We got to repeat the meetings and do a lot of stuff out in the indoor, so they're spread out. So it's still got a ways to go. We got all kinds of issues still. Talk about airplanes and travel to the game and the buses to the airport, and they're going to test 3 times a week, and you get tested on Friday and you have it. Well, isn't the whole row with you, and the row in front and the row behind going to get shut down? So there's still some obstacles here.
How do you focus on making 18 to 23-year-olds, sometimes 17, I guess, coming in, focus on getting better at football while also stressing to them how much they have to worry about standing too close to one of their best friends all the time? How do you balance that? That has to be quite a task, I assume.
Well, we got more issues than professional sports. They're more mature, and for the most part, sounds like they're kind of on lockdown. We got a whole nother issue that our kids leave us. They do well around us, for a couple hours a day, and then they're out in the streets. They're in class, they're at restaurants and stuff. And the problem is, in general, not just kids, look at adults. Adults don't really social distance. I mean, you look at the internet all day, or you see things, or drive downtown. Adults aren't doing it. So kids certainly aren't. So, they've got to do their best to do it, even though most of the students they're around, they're not doing it.
Lane, what a situation you're in. Hey, go coach football, Lane. Coach football, Lane.
Go coach football. By the way, you had no spring practice, so you couldn't work with your players. Okay, and now we actually don't have a training camp because everything is pushed back. Everyone's in school now for the most part, so we only have them a couple hours a day. But hey, make sure you go beat Alabama.
Let's talk about Alabama. Obviously, coaching down there is something that a lot of people do, whether it's either in between head coaching gigs or before head coaching gigs. If you go there, you're going to get a head coaching job. There was always like this interesting kind of narrative about you and Saban's relationship. What did you take away from your time at Alabama, and what do you carry into your day-to-day from there?
You mean at the rehab university?
Yeah, everybody.
Yeah. You go there for rehab to get fixed, and then they, good behavior. I wasn't great behavior. I had to go 3 years.
What did you learn at rehab, Coach?
Really, seriously though, he really to be more of a CEO. I was always X's and O's and always worried about that, and spent all my time on that and recruiting, obviously. But he does everything, and so nothing happens in that building. Nothing happens on offense, defense, special teams he doesn't know about, and he just does a phenomenal job of getting everybody on the same page. And every day, no matter whether it's July or whatever it is about Alabama football and how he can make it better.
So whenever you know that you're back in the same conference, and I would assume the expectations at Ole Miss is, hey, we want to be the top of the SEC. To do that, you have to beat Alabama. What does your team have to do, you think, to get back into the prominence of the SEC? Not that it hasn't been for, you said 5 years ago, win a Sugar Bowl, but what does the Ole Miss team have to do to continue to grow to get back into that?
Well, there's obviously work to be done. They don't, jobs don't come open, and people get fired because everything's perfect. So, we've got some roster issues with some depth issues. Now, when we looked at the job compared to some other jobs, one of the big thing was there's some really good youth, as you mentioned, on offense. Some receivers, an elite quarterback. The starting running back was a true freshman in that class also. So there are some really good players here, especially young, but we've got a lot of work to do to build it to where it's, a championship program. So now your rosters look like, Alabama or Auburn or LSU.
You said when you were looking there as opposed to other places in comparison, did you ever think about getting back into the NFL, or is it always you feel like college is your home, you think?
I do. I enjoy it a lot more. A lot of coaches like the NFL more, because you got so much time in the off season and stuff like that. Well, I don't care about that. I really like the changes. I like the change of season. So you do football, then you got recruiting, and you're working with younger kids. And the one thing I didn't like about the NFL, as you would know, is I felt like, 15 minutes after the game, you could walk into the locker room, after the coach was done talking, and you really couldn't tell if they won or lost.
Business.
I understand that because there's so many games and it's a business, but it's so cool in college. You got kids crying after losses and stuff. It's so cool. And remember, in the NFL, when you're drafted, they choose you. You don't choose them. So you don't really have a passion for the place you play, like the city, the team. You develop that, but you don't have that. Well, you choose your college. So the kids in general, a lot of times, choose somewhere they grew up wanting to play and have a passion for. So it just means more.
Man, I never even thought of that. Never even thought. By the way, this is probably why you do well everywhere, is because you can paint a hell of a picture. Go ahead, Diggs.
Lane, you were talking about learning from Alabama and Saban to be more of a CEO, but you obviously your career has been on the offensive side of the ball, being an offensive coordinator. So how hard is it as the CEO to give up some responsibilities as far as like calling plays or stuff like that? Or are you always going to call plays?
No, I've given up some of that. And that you really can't, you really have to if you're going to do everything. And I think when you do that, you connect with your other players better on the other side, but you also manage the game better. When I was calling as the head coach, like all the plays and doing it all myself, I'm over there making adjustments while the defense is out on the field. I may not even see a penalty that happened or see something that I can help them with, So I think that you do a lot better job this way.
Game situations are such a underrated part of a talent of a head coach or not, like clock management, timeout management, everything like that. I mean, there's some coaches are really good at it and some coaches are really bad at it. And I would assume if you're calling plays, you can't be as dialed in on making the right decision for the entire team because all you're worried about is how this offense is going to do. That's probably a big decision though for you to kind of let up the reins on that. I would assume that's tough to make.
Yeah, but like you said, the game management, as you said, there's good and bad. I mean, there's some really bad game managers. In college, people get away with it. I've never understood this. I see things that blow my mind, and in college, they get away with it. In the NFL, I mean, you get killed in the NFL. Press conference afterwards and the papers the next day or something. I mean, they're on it. But I don't know why that is in college. The announcers kind of let it go, and the media does too. So, but obviously it's a value. I mean, you're going to win or lose 1 or 2 games a year based off of if you know what to do in every single situation. And if you've practiced those things with your team, not just know what to do.
Your entire life, you knew you were going to be a coach?
I did. I just always, when I grew up, I looked at the game different. I'm not saying I didn't want to be an NFL player, but when I watched the game, I was most intrigued by the coaches because I was watching, here's some old guy on the sidelines, that he's affecting the outcome of the game based off of what he's choosing to do. And that just was like so cool to me that you could outthink the other guy.
So you're going to be the old guy on the sideline? That's going to be you at some point?
Well, this isn't like my 5th head coaching job. So
Hey, I went through the Wikipedia. And I'll tell you what, that son of a bitch is long. I mean, it is a long one. But it feels like you feel like you're in the perfect spot for you right now.
I do. And so my career kind of went backwards from, what it normally does. And so, I think what happens when you do that, you get so much so early, you make mistakes, but you're making them on the national stage. Because you're a head coach in the NFL or you're at USC or Tennessee, where most people are making those mistakes, at whatever, Coach Saban at Toledo or something, making those mistakes. And then you learn it, and then you finally get the big job. So I kind of went backwards on that. So, but valuable lessons. And I mean, how can you have better experience to be all those different places and work with all those different players and coaches? It's really awesome.
Resilient is something that I would describe you as, because I think there was 3 different times where you were pronounced dead by everybody. I think everybody. The USC thing is a story that got blown up because of how it went, and everybody was like, well, he'll never get a coach. He's dead. And then now here you are, years later, feel mature, feel better than you've ever felt. That's a pretty cool little arc that you have going on in your life right now.
Yeah, it really is. There's a book I refer to, Obstacles the Way by Ryan Holiday, and he sent it to me when I got to know him, and it's exactly that. Like, something you think may be horrible at the time, which I thought I was dead. Fired on a tarmac at 3:14 in the morning or something like that. That'll make you feel real good.
That's tough.
Oh, and by the way, you're 3-2. It ain't like you're 0-5. Scholarship players and you get whacked. But really what you figure out later on is, hey, if that didn't happen, as hard as it was, I would have never went to Alabama and learned from Coach Saban, for those 3 years. So you never know. Horrible things happen that you think at the time, and they may be the best thing.
I agree. I got arrested at 4:05 a.m. or something like that for an alleged incident. Public intoxication, yeah. Allegedly swam, definitely drunk. I mean, you kind of got to balance it out there. What's up, Connor?
Yeah, Coach, Pat mentioned the Egg Bowl early on, and that's your guys' rival, Mississippi State, who also have a new coach in Mike Leach. And earlier on, he actually pulled your mask off at a press conference. Was that the beginning of the rivalry? And did you talk any shit to him after?
No, because that's just him. That's like what he does. That's weird. As you know. So I walked up, I hadn't seen him for a year or something, and he just pulls my mask. But you realize that's just that's Leachy, is what he does. So he's an interesting character. I call him, when I call him, check in on him, he's always just in Key West. I'm like, don't we have a game in a couple weeks? Practice is overrated.
He was supposed to come on our show, And he called in 2.5 hours late, right? It was 2.5 hours late. And just, hey, I'm here for the show or whatever. Like, oh, it was supposed to be like literally like 3 hours ago, Coach. Oh, I'm sorry. All right, we got to reschedule. And I just moved forward. It was legendary, obviously, as are you. I can't thank you enough for joining us today, Coach. What do you got today? Are we in the middle of training camp right now? Are we in the middle of practices?
Yeah, we're in the middle of practices. We actually, today's a day off with players. They got different rules now because we're 25 practices over 40 days. So they have mandatory days off in there. So, they have the day off, and we're taking some of them and some coaches over with some local police to go have a meeting and
nice
today. So just get ready for practice tomorrow.
How do you feel real, I don't want to say a burden, but responsibility to do something like that? With your players going to meet with the police to make actual change as opposed to just talking about it? I feel like that is something that you, especially because college football is a place where it brings all cultures together. I mean, college football is a place that I went into that locker room and I learned more about life in the world in that locker room than I think anybody who doesn't get a chance would ever learn in their entire life to get in that locker room. I would feel like with the world that we're in, there's a real responsibility amongst you and the staff to be like, hey, we should probably enact some real change.
Yeah, there is. And this one's part to make sure that, we marched the other day that, the local police understand that wasn't about them. We don't have those issues here in Oxford, with police. So it was about things going on around the country. So to make sure that they understand, they hear from us and hear from the players.
Yeah, it's always, I hope the world becomes the perfect place, but man, there's always going to be a couple assholes. I just hope we can weed them out, especially from a position of power. I think that would make a lot of things better. But Coach, I appreciate you so much. You are the man. Hope to get to talk to you again. Can't wait to see how you balance these protocols. It should be great. Go win some games. Beat Alabama. Head coach, Lincoln. Cool guy.
Great.
Cool guy.
Yeah. We like Lane.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, we like
sure.
Lane.
We like Lane.
Oh yeah.
That's what he called it out. What was it called? Called going to rehab?
Yeah, Bama's rehab.
Then you hear he was talking about how he was thrown into the deep end, basically, right? Like he was thrown into the deep end. I'm learning these things that, where Nick Saban? Toledo. He even said, he even said, where Nick Saban? Oh, Toledo. That's right. That's where he learned where he was supposed to do what he was supposed to do. Good for that guy. He was pronounced dead.
Oh, yeah.
Numerous times.
He said,
I thought I was dead. 3:18 in the morning or something like that on tarmac.
Would have loved to know him during his Robert Downey Jr. years, though, before Bama. I mean, I'm sure he was full of it.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes you get humbled by things. Maybe I assume that has probably happened to him. But if you're that young and you get thrown into a head coaching gig at where? Tennessee, USC, and the Raiders?
He started with Oakland, and then he did Tennessee, USC. Then he went to Bama, and then FAU. And
how old was he? Was he in his 20s or was he in his early 30s?
He's 45 now. And Oakland was 2007, so it was 13 years, 32-ish.
Wow. That's like, right? I mean, that's Sean McVay.
Yeah, younger than McVay.
That's why I'm very surprised that McVay's been able to handle it all because he's so young to go to the top so fast. But I would assume that 31 years old.
31 was the one who got hired.
I mean, if you have a little, if you have a little swag, which I assume Lane Kiffin had, and you're a head coach at 31, it'd be hard probably not to be like, yeah, fuck everybody, basically. Yeah. Which I heard he was like. And now he's kind of grown through all that, growing pains, and now he's on his up and go. Maybe, I hope that Ole Miss does well. I like Lane Kiffin there.
And when he got hired from Oakland, like he had never been a head coach before. He was just the OC at USC. So he just went straight from the OC at USC for 1 year to Oakland Raiders.
By the way, Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah.
Cliff Kingsbury. Now, he was offense coordinator for a long time down there in Texas Tech.
And head coach.
What's that?
He was head coach too, right?
Yeah, he was a head coach.
Oh, yeah. You're right. You're 100% right. There wasn't a coordinator in college. The closest thing to that would be LaFleur, who was just coordinator for Tennessee, and wasn't even on a thing. He becomes head coach, but he was still in the NFL, so he had dealt with the grown men before. Has anybody else who's just been a college offensive coordinator go straight to head coach? I'd assume not.
Definitely not at that
Tomlin
age
was the
either.
defense. He was on the defensive staff for the Vikings.
NFL, okay.
Yeah, he was.
I mean, that's crazy to hire a 31-year-old too if he's never had any head coaching experience before to coach an NFL team. That's
that is a roll of the dice.
Yeah.
That is a roll.
It's Oakland, baby.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to a break. I got to go to the bathroom. We have a lot to talk about still. Josh Gordon is back with the Seahawks. Does this affect them allegedly going to sign Antonio Brown? Or does that just only help them all even more? Stephen Gostkowski, University of Memphis grad. He goes to the Tennessee Titans, signs a deal. I'll pick the division winners for the AFC and NFC East. Steve Nash is a head coach. Stephen A. Smith said it was white privilege. All right. Hey.
That's how he feels.
Hey.
Okay.
All right. The Complex Sports put out a. Now listen, Complex is a lifestyle magazine.
Yep.
Okay. Complex has done a lot in the world. Complex Sports put out a ranking of all 32 NFL quarterbacks, and they have to be playing the "Let's fuck this list up" so everybody talks about it game. And guess what? They got us. We're going to talk about that and all the other stuff going on. This is the Pat McAfee Show, Thursday, September 3rd. Let me tell you a little story about these statistics. Troy Polamalu, okay? Fucking Troy Polamalu. So we had a fake for the Pittsburgh Steelers that was a 100%er. We didn't even have a cancel the goddamn play because it was a 100%er. If we ever end up in this situation, inside the 7-yard line on the left hash, it is a 100%er that the C gap will be wide open and we will just part the C to the left. It'll be a touchdown. 100%er. We're playing in Pittsburgh, the city I grew up in. I grew up in Pittsburgh. I won the punt, pass, and kick national championship, AJ. National championship, AJ.
Congrats.
AJ, did you ever win the national championship, punt, pass, and kick?
I think I got 3rd or 4th out of 4 at the Nationals.
I'm proud of you, man. Anyways, so we're there in that stadium, okay? A lot of McAfee's in there. A lot of McAfee's in Pittsburgh. I'm going to score my first fucking touchdown, night game, Sunday Night Football, I believe it was, right here, touchdown. We get into that situation, and I'm like, holy fuck, this is really going to happen. We're like on the 6, on the left hash. It's 4th and goal now. Field goal team's jogging on. I'm like, well, fuck, it's about to, I'm ready. I am ready for this to happen. So I get out there. I get down. Vinny's like happy for me. Vinny's like very excited. He's like, let's fucking go. Like Vinny's excited for me at this moment. I'm like, here we go. So I make the call. I forget what it was. So I start saying it, right? And everybody's looking at me like, okay, bright eyes. Here we go. Let's get after it. Offensive linemen are dead ass tired. They do not want to be in the middle of a field goal anyways. So they're just like, all right, I don't give a fuck if you die here, but this should work. Let's get some points. And all of a sudden, I go through my cadence, I call it, I get down, and Troy Polamalu's fucking ass goes ahead for however long his career was at this point. I think it was like 9 years or 8 years at this point. Not a once has he ever gone to this side of the field over here to the left and covered, stood right in the C gap. Never. He lined up exactly where he had lined in film 100% of the time. And then as soon as I got to like the second cadence right before set, he just bounced his little ass right over to the C gap. And I like stopped everything I was doing and I literally just looked at him. And I gave him like a, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, why are you there right now? And then I stood up and said, we are kicking it. We don't have it. We have to kick it. We are kicking this. And then I get down, and Vinatieri kicks it, and I jog off the field. And Chuck Pagano comes running up next to me. He's like, hey, good job. What'd you see? I said, what did I see? Polamalu just fucking went right into the goddamn C gap. What did I see? What did I see? And he goes, okay, sounds good. Good call then. And good call then. And then Vinatieri's like, hey, way to go, buddy. I'm like, way to go? Are we not going to talk about how big of a fucking asshole Troy Polamalu is for what just happened right there? So that's...
I saw the angel of death waiting for me in the C gap.
It's unbelievable. What, you thought I was going to run him over? No way. He's probably going to strip me and score a touchdown the other fucking, that's Polamalu, bro. That ain't just your backyard football with your son. These are professional fucking athletes. He'd probably jump over the lineman, pick me up, and run me into the other fucking end zone if he wanted to. That's what he would have done.
The hard-hitting safety of his generation, too. I mean, Ed Reed, great cover safety. I don't know that you would have feared him, but
Ed Reed, I would have feared Ed Reed. Yeah, if I saw Ed Reed in that C gap, absolutely. Reed, boy, the best safety you ever seen, boy. I ain't doing shit to Ed Reed.
No, Ed Reed would have made the tackle. I'm saying that Polamalu would have shaved years off your life.
Oh, my God. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Reading a message here on the Instagram that I got. I posted those that watch know that I am currently in the middle of a pander party, and I would like you to join me in the pander party.
Oh, yeah.
Although I do believe the things that I am tweeting and posting on Instagram, it is strictly being tweeted and posted on Instagram because it feels like the self-serving posts do the best on Twitter and Instagram, and I got lost in the algorithm. So we're in the middle of Pat's pander party. I would love to welcome you and invite you to the party. Whenever you see a tweet that I do believe, like it is an actual thing, but it's tough to tweet out because I used to tweet out tweets like this, and then I started reading through them, and they're just insufferable. And then I saw other people tweet out these things, and I think, oh, those people are tough to handle. Okay, but now, since we're trying to find our way back into the algorithm on the Twitter and Instagram, because my dad, who only follows 4 people, stopped seeing my posts on both Instagram and Twitter. So I feel like what I have to do is I have to kind of, beat up their algorithm a little bit. Yeah. How do you do that? You pander to Twitter's algorithm. Yep. So we've been doing a lot of this, and it's actually made me feel good, by the way. It's actually something in the morning, I've got a chance to feel good about. I tweeted this morning, and then I posted on Instagram in the pander party. Good morning, beautiful people. Much like a beer when it's chugged or a joint when it's smoked, today will never happen again. It's gone forever. So why wouldn't we make today the best beer of all time? Today's the day the negative bullshits get eliminated. Let's have a day. Let's have a day.
Well said.
Okay, I believe that, by the way. Today will never happen again. We should enjoy it, trying to make the absolute most of it. It's how you feel every day, but we have today. We're not sure if we have tomorrow, so why wouldn't we enjoy the shit out of it? We have one beer left. Let's enjoy it. They tell you not to shotgun, not to chug, not to bong the last beer because you should savor it. I disagree. However the hell you want to enjoy that thing, enjoy the shit out of it. If you want to put it in a 2-story bong and take that thing down and half of it is foam, you do whatever you got to do. However you need to enjoy today, enjoy today.
Heck yeah.
Here's a message I received from somebody after posting that on the Instagram. I won't say his name because he's a sack of shit, but I did screenshot this. Fuck you, I was told.
Whoa.
Depression can just be fixed by an Insta post? Question mark, exclamation mark, question mark. No, fuck you. That's not how depression works. That's not how life works. It's not just a flip of the switch. And to have people tag the ones who are down is hella fucked up. You're a piece of shit jock douchebag. Piece of shit jock douchebag who's a conservative fucktard probably, and you are a piece of shit. 2020, bro. Hey, you post something motivating, potentially inspiring, clearly pandering to an algorithm, and that's the message that this guy sent at 10:19 a.m. That guy.
Well, one of his friends tagged him, and he is still pretty negative. He did not read the post.
Hey, Bob. Hey, listen, I just have a funny feeling that you are not enjoying this day as if it was the last beer that you had. I wish you would, though, a little bit, Mitch. What's going on?
He woke up at 7:19 in the morning and
that guy
just not happy.
Think about that guy.
Stop tagging me in Pat's post. He said, add a friend. I'm not your friend.
Add a negative friend.
Yeah.
Which, by the way,
You can
doesn't
tag
mean you're
me.
down.
You can at me.
Okay, that just means negative friend. For instance, we have a negative friend. Who is it? Nick Moraldo.
Yeah.
He's a negative friend.
That guy.
That
I
guy,
own it.
Mitch, stinks.
I mean, what?
Hey, this is 2 days. 2 days, by the way. Big publication yesterday.
Yeah.
And now today, here are the messages. I'm getting attacked right now.
Come on.
By the way, feels good. Feels
Positivity,
Good to be back.
hey.
Feels good to be back.
I actually said that this morning. I said my timeline's been a little too chummy.
Yeah.
I'm excited for football to get back so I could say some bad things about your team and everyone hates you.
Feels good to be back.
Feels
a
good to
little
be
bit.
back.
I mean, an irrelevant guy wrote an article and an interesting angle about me yesterday. I respect it. You do what you got to do. I didn't want to engage in it, obviously, because people are allowed to have their opinions. But here we are, back-to-back days, kind of taking little shots. It felt like whenever I first, walked into the NXT arena and kicked Adam Cole's head off.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yep.
Those
That
days
was
were
cool.
good. Those days were good on the internet.
Yeah.
It's like, hell, getting a little bit, you know what I mean? But the Pat's Pandering Party, I got an army right now.
Good party.
Those things are getting retweeted.
Highly effective.
Very, very quick.
Yeah.
And we are back in the algorithm, so I appreciate everybody. And listen, I know you guys want to showcase that you're a part of the Pander Party, and you immediately reply to the tweets and go, hashtag, I'm part of the pander party. Just know that if too many of us pander and say that we're pandering, Twitter's probably going to see that we're pandering and potentially knocks us out of the algorithm. So if only like 50 to 100 of you guys could do that each day, you guys can work that out amongst yourself. I would assume you guys are a cohesive unit.
Police it yourself.
Yeah, police it. So only a few people do the hashtag pander party, okay? Because we don't need Twitter potentially picking up on the fact that we're only doing this for pandering purposes.
Worst case scenario is the Panda Police come around and all of a sudden,
the Panda Police
down below.
The Panda Police really are a problem too.
Yeah.
When the Panda Police start perusing around, it is a problem for Pat. I will tell you that
seriously.
right now.
Wow.
That was pretty good. Pretty good. Every once in a while, the brain and the mouth are just connected in a good fashion.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like today's one of those days, probably because that dickhead Mitch. I won't say his full name.
No.
He knows.
He knows.
He's not watching this. He sucks. He would use this. And hey, by the way, Mitch, you could use some of this in your life, Mitch, I think. You know, just a bunch of idiots talking into microphones about sports things that don't really matter because we don't have games to talk about other than the NBA and the refs are fucking them over. So, I mean, what are we supposed to talk about, Mitch?
Hey, 1 week.
We're a week away, baby.
Oh, 1 week! Yeah! 1 week! Yes! Okay, look for us to have some massive super boosts at FanDuel for the season opener between the Texans and the Chiefs next Thursday. Then we'll have another super boost for next weekend. And then going forward throughout the entire season, every Friday we are going to have a super boost for NFL weekend. Yeah. I am going to bat 1,000. Go ahead and just ride along with it. We're going to boost the hell out of those odds. Now listen, will I hit a cold streak? No, but last year I did, okay? And when that cold streak hits, we all have to be self-aware enough to realize we're on a cold streak because I will not. I'm going to swing with confidence. We might need some other people in the room, maybe watching and go, let's do recall that we have lost the last 1, 2, maybe 4. Let's remember that. And then I'll come back and say, well, this one's going to hit. I will get hot. Last year I made a lot of people money in the fall football season. Now college basketball, I don't know a damn thing about betting. Who knows if that's going to ever happen again, but I don't know anything about that. NBA, kind of rough. I'm not a great gambler on that. But when it comes to NFL, college football, I'm not bad. I'm not bad at picking games. I can go money line. I'm not good at the points thing. But NFL, I feel like I'm pretty fucking good, and we're going to try to take every single dollar we can from them this fall. It's going to be a good time, Super Boost. What do you got, Diggs?
No, I was just sitting here and I kind of got emotional that we're a week away. I mean, we've been through a lot.
Last night laid the old head down. Right. You know, I watched Giannis get kind of fucked over by an NBA ref. And then what did I immediately think of?
Tim Donnie?
No.
You thought of Riveron.
You know who I thought about. I thought about Alberto Riveron. I was like, listen, I can mock basketball for their Tim Donaghy situation, a man who went to jail, who was a ref, who was actually rigging games with the mafia, has come out, came on this show, wrote a book and everything like that. And you watch basketball games and you go, wah. Like last night, that Bucks Heat game, the ending, the last 2 series. I mean, that was very interesting calls. And I don't think they make those calls, by the way, if it's with fans, because I think the fans heighten the moment, so refs kind of swallow the whistle a little bit more in those big moments. Playoff basketball is kind of this. So I think the bubble has kind of worn on everybody, and it kind of feels like they're all the same games. But this is playoff, big game, round 2, team that had the best record in the regular season, now down 2-0. And I'll tell you what, Jimmy Butler knocked the free throws down with 0-0 on there, but those 2 calls at the end were wild. And I'm no basketball expert, I just said it, but watching that game live, it was like, come the fuck on there. That's just the refs deciding what they want to happen.
Yeah.
All right, we want them to tie it up. Here we go. We'll get 3 free throws. And then bang, we want a chance here for this guy to win. It's like, now I don't know why they would want Jimmy Butler and the Heat to win over Giannis, so I don't think they were doing this on purpose. But boy, those big moments when a ref fucks something up, it is magnified. And our guy Alberto Riveron, I thought about him last night a lot because he did that all last year. Still got a gig. And they brought in another stooge to help him out, Walt Anderson. And then I started thinking, wait, we're 7 days away basically from getting a chance to yell about that. We're 7 days away from watching the greatest league on earth take place. We're 7 days away from incredible hits, plays, touchdowns, punts, kicks, tackles, you name it. We're 7 days away. The country's been through a lot.
Oh, yeah. That's what I mean.
Since the Super Bowl. Think about a lot has happened since the last time we played football.
I feel like the country has grown a lot. I feel like we've learned a lot. Now, granted, some things we still know next to nothing about, and some things we still have to get better at. We're a country, though, that has been battle tested. We're a country that was locked in our houses for 2 weeks, then 4 weeks, then 8 weeks, then 12 weeks, then 16 weeks. And we are a country who learned a lot about things that are happening here. We were locked up together, and now we're coming into this NFL season as a unified force waiting for America's game to come back and dominate. And we are 7 days away. Hell yeah! Hell yeah! Woo!
Hey, for all we know,
pretty fucking pumped about it now.
So pumped. Yeah.
And now we got new contenders, new teams, new homes, new studs. Phillip Rivers, who's now an Indianapolis Colt, will be joining us in the next hour. Terrell Davis will be joining us here in about 22 minutes to talk about Leonard Fournette, who was on the Duval squad that was tanking. Now he's on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who seem to be just as loaded as the Kansas City Chiefs, who are Super Bowl champions, just got their rings, paid everybody in the building somehow. We have a lot of storylines. We have a lot of action, and it's 7 days away, Diggs.
hey, as far as we know, I can say this. COVID wasn't here when football was happening. So for all we know, football could end COVID.
Football
cures COVID.
Is COVID scared of football?
Yeah, the concussions. COVID doesn't want CTE.
Because football, Dr. Will Smith said. Now, we won't even talk.
I was going to say.
No.
You are treading dangerous water.
I am not even getting into that world.
Depends what spectrum you fall on.
Well, fraud playing a fraud.
Stats at this point.
What?
I mean, what?
A fraud playing a fraud.
Oh, come on.
No.
Oh, boy.
Don't do this.
Tell the truth.
I'm the captain now.
I mean, there's some people that think that Dr. Will Smith did not tell the truth in that concussion movie.
No.
But we learned a lot about health in the football world.
Sure.
And, you know, the interesting thing was all the ex-players, not all the ex-players, but there was a large portion of ex-players that sued the NFL because of the brain injuries that they suffered during their NFL career, and there wasn't proper health and protocol and stats whenever they were playing. And I agree completely. Like, ex-players and retired players should have been pissed off about that. But I don't know if they follow through with said lawsuit if the NFL chose to take care of the retired players since they chose to retire. So that lawsuit was a big thing that changed football, by the way. That lawsuit by the former players. It changed the rules of football. It changed a lot of things in football. Changed the future of football. It changed everything in football. And I don't know if that lawsuit happens, even with the concussion movie that came out, which... I didn't do enough research to talk about any of it, but there's obviously people that are on both sides of it, just like in everything that exists nowadays, somehow, science, even stats, somehow, there's direct opposite arguments for the same thing somehow. But if the retired players, the older players, were taken care of by the NFL since their retirement days with insurance and other stuff like that, I assume that lawsuit doesn't happen. It doesn't change football that much. But the thought of COVID potentially being scared of football, I don't think we can rule that out. I don't think we can rule that out.
No, I don't
think we can rule that out.
No. And I think the NFL was probably just looking at the denominator when they made that decision. Yeah. You know, I mean, as we found out, if you don't know what denominator you're dealing with, you don't know anything.
Who told you that?
The Merrill Hodge. Merrill Hodge. And he is well read on the situation.
Yeah. That was one of the wildest days in this show's history.
Yeah.
That was one of the wildest.
BU.
I mean, it was wild. He took down a doctor at one point. He took down everything.
Took down science.
By the way, I asked one question about football, and it was a 8-minute diatribe about stats that I obviously was not prepared enough to know anything about to either counter argument or agree. So all I did the entire time was just say, Jesus. And that really came out of nowhere, that Merrill Hodge.
It was like a 32 blast, and he just saw daylight up the gut and just fucking took it to pay dirt.
That was wild, dude. There's been a couple days like that. Yesterday, Jeff Benedict.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Jeffy?
Jeff Benedict, great author. But boy, I must have asked the wrong questions because those answers...
long-winded.
He had a couple shades of Wetzel the Pretzel, though. I mean, there were moments where Benedict came alive.
Wetzel put AJ Hawk to sleep. Like, I liked Wetzel because I like learning things.
Yeah. Pretzel.
And Wetzel and the
Pretzel put AJ in an absolute mind-bending state. That's what the Pretzel does.
The Jeff Benedict yesterday, though, whenever you're in this seat here, okay, and I'm I feel like I'm tasked to get information from people, right? We have a platform. We have a lot of motherfuckers watching for whatever reason. We appreciate the hell out of you doing that. So thankful. And when we get guests on here, there's a couple balances here. I need to get some information out of them. I would like to learn about them a little bit. But then whenever they just get going, it's like, is everybody feeling the same way I am right now, that this is just too long? And then how am I respectfully going to tell this guy, who pretty accomplished, pretty accomplished guy, how do I respectfully interrupt him and tell him to shut the fuck up? You know, like that's it's tough. It is a tough role. And by the way, I'm young in this game, just like Lane Kiffin said, where he got kind of dumped in. I mean, we've literally since first show that we did, even with Barstool, very large show. So the learning curve has become very quick. And in the live show interview thing, I still have a lot to learn. But there are some times where I almost lose my couth with said person. But then I'm like, oh, this person could potentially come back on at some point. Yeah. I don't know what to do. It's a fine balance. It's an interesting balance. And whenever we get on Sirius next Wednesday, September 9th, Mad Dog Radio, Channel 82. I've gotten some tweets from their fans, by the way. Some happy, some not happy. I mean, some
just
not.
a fan of the channel?
The channel has like its own community. We're joining a pretty powerful community over there.
Love joining.
The dogs?
Me too.
The Mad Dogs?
I'm pretty pumped to get in there. I don't know if that's what they do.
I don't think it is.
They're not the Mad Dogs?
They should think about it.
Yeah. Well, anyways, they're going to hate us, I think. I've been reading through, like, there was one who was pretty vocal. He was supporting us, actually. He felt like he was going to go to bat for us. And then I read through his tweets and what he was retweeting and stuff like that. It might be a tough, but I think a lot of them are going to like us.
Win them over.
We'll win them over.
Yeah.
But boy, there's always, anytime there's change, it's going to be tough. But we are incredibly thankful and honored to be on Mad Dog Radio starting next Wednesday, September 9th. So if you're not watching, you should be listening. And if you are, it's only found at Sirius XM. And we're 90% of cars, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Sirius XM. 90% of cars. Here we go. So now we're on the internet and in the car. Let's have a day. Let's have a day.
Feels good.
And the podcast is moving to daily.
Oh, wow.
Pretty big announcement.
Pretty big announcement.
Just kind of slipped it in there yesterday. Nobody realized. Fuck. That's tough. Pretty big announcement. Nobody cares. Kind of just got to move along. Oh, maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it doesn't matter. Okay, let's get to it. It doesn't. I mean, it does, I guess. Because Ty is actually getting relieved of editing the podcast, which is... Hey,
that's pretty sweet.
I think it's
you had a hell of a
pretty
run.
sweet. Thank you very much. I feel like I'm getting a gold jacket. I really do.
He's graduating from the editing of the podcast he's been doing for like 3 years at this point.
You had a good life.
A lot of late nights, a lot of terrible tech issues, a lot of internet problems, a lot of updates.
False relieves too.
Oh,
a
yeah.
couple times where, all right, Ty, you're good now. You don't have to do it anymore. And then it turns out.
Yeah, you still got to do it. And by the way, this might end up being one of those.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? We'll cross that bridge when it comes.
Yeah, next week that bridge is coming. But yeah, we're pumped to get back in the Sirius family, Sirius XM family. Very, very pumped for it. I am excited, like legitimately excited. A lot of people from Sirius XM that we had met previously whenever we were on there sent a lot of messages, congratulations, a lot of conversation. That's a cool family over there. Really cool family over there. Pumped to be back. Speaking of being back, Josh Gordon Flash is back with the Seahawks. Now, the conversation around Josh Gordon has always been incredibly talented. Okay, the Flash is incredibly talented. When he's at Cleveland, incredibly talented, just couldn't get right. Goes to New England Patriots, incredibly talented, just couldn't get right for whatever reason. Goes to Seattle Seahawks, and it ends with him getting suspended for a marijuana fail, which is probably like number 45 for Josh Gordon, or we don't know the exacts. But then whenever the NFL rolled back its rules and punishments against marijuana and said, you know what, in the year 2020, with the new CBA, we aren't going to punish people a lot worse for smoking a plant than we would for almost anything else in this entire league. We're not going to punish somebody for smoking a plant instead of choosing to take every painkiller that they could potentially find. The NFL, our commissioner, took a step into the 21st century with marijuana laws. And you got to remember, marijuana regulations, the reason why they are the way they are is because the people that are currently in power, all right, if you just look at them, there's people in power. You know who they are. I don't have to individually name them, but the people in power, they were introduced to marijuana from a group of humans called the hippies, okay? And the hippies were everything that the people in power were not, okay? They hated America. They didn't want to. They hated the military. They wanted peace. They wanted all, like everything that the people who are currently in power who make decisions in a lot of the states right now that are still not really voting for marijuana. Their first impression of marijuana came from a group of people that they probably never wanted to associate themselves with. And first impressions can die hard. I mean, it's very hard to do that. But now more science and research is coming out about the benefits of marijuana, and then CBD, which comes from the same plant. And it's kind of like one of those things where it's slowly taking its steps back into America. Although the business in Denver, we learned very quickly, is massive. And in every single state that has allowed it, has become just paramount to the state's economy. I mean, it's one of those things where it's slowly happening. And the NFL took the same type of steps as society's doing, which is slowly backing off punishing for marijuana. You still test positive for it. You still have to do something, but they will no longer suspend people for marijuana fails. And I would assume in the next couple years, as more states realize, like, oh, hey, like alcohol and tobacco, the thing that direct contribution to cancer and direct contribution to bad decisions for some people, not all people, by the way, some people can handle things. That seems like that's been much worse to our society than this drug that every single day a new research or study comes out, and it's just like so much better for you than basically anything else that is on the market at this point. That is something that I think as those laws continue to turn, the NFL will do alongside of that. So whenever the NFL said no more suspensions for marijuana, I think Josh Gordon's name was trending. Like I think on Twitter, Josh Gordon's name was trending. And everybody's like, where's Josh Gordon going to go? Who's he going to play for? Everybody thought he was going to go back to Seahawks. Here they go. They make it happen. Russell Wilson gets another weapon. There's also been a lot of rumors that they are interested in Antonio Brown, who has an 8-game suspension. Who knows if there's going to be any more there? I mean, the Seattle Seahawks are potentially building something really special on the offensive side of the ball, and good for Josh Gordon getting back in the game. Because for a guy that was suspended and lost a lot of money for such a dumb reason, everybody will say, well, tell him just stop smoking weed. I agree. I was in the substance of abuse program after an alleged incident, and I was drug tested 8 times a month for 27 months. I mean, it was a very rigorous program that you literally just kind of have to sit at home all by yourself for 27 months so you don't fail it. A lot of people end up in that program for the rest of their careers. People don't get out. The fact that I got out was almost like a surprise to people. So Josh Gordon has definitely fucked up. Josh Gordon has definitely made decisions that he shouldn't make that has affected his career. But now that the NFL is catching up with the rules and basically saying, hey, we're not going to kick you off the field anymore. You can't do it. We're still going to test for it. We'll fine you, but you can still play. I think the Seattle Seahawks are thankful for that, and I think Russell Wilson's very excited about that.
Do you think there was actual interest from other teams, or do you think a lot of GMs still see him as just like a huge question mark and problem, so he was always going to go somewhere where they knew like kind of how to deal with him?
Yeah, so I don't think he was ever going to go back to Cleveland, right? New GM there, Andrew Berry. I don't think he's ever going to go there. I would assume that only places that knew him would bring him in. And I don't know, would Matt Patricia know him? No.
New England probably no. Probably not again, right?
No. What I'm saying, though, is somebody leaving New England and potentially
Flores, maybe? B-Flow?
Yeah, maybe B-Flow down in Miami. So maybe there was – I think it would have to be – especially in the world that we're in now. Like in the world now, they're not going to be able to meet with people.
Yeah.
You barely work people out at this point. I mean, getting people in for a workout, they have to quarantine, they have to do this, let alone learning about people in a face-to-face basis. So I would assume that the Seahawks is why everybody thought that's where he was going to go. And I bet you Pete Carroll was very pumped to get him back. There was a couple games last year where he was deep down the center, big-time catch. There's always those flashes and potential and like what it could he become. And then all of a sudden a stupid suspension would happen. It's like, well, we'll never find out. Now we'll get a chance to find out, even though he's a little bit older.
No, and I think that it's good for them because it gives probably a chance for Lockett to go into the slot, and then him and Metcalf could be on the outside. So
hey, how about that catch? By the way, Metcalf, what an animal.
Yeah.
How about that catch that Lockett?
Oh, yeah.
In that
the Rams?
corner from Russell Wilson, rolling left cross body. That was one of the most insane completions I think I've ever seen.
Your guy Phil Dorsett's there, too. So
a lot of speed.
They got what? Greg Olsen, Disley at tight end.
Yep.
They're kind of stacked.
Oh, Fox commentator Greg Olsen.
Yeah, that guy. Third leg.
I love it. G-Reg. They got a team.
Yeah.
Hey,
they got a team.
Hey, they got a team.
And Clowney's still out there. Clowney might come back.
Bro, I watched that. I watched that clip back with Charles Robinson of Yahoo Sports, which is a company. When he was talking about how the Cleveland Browns. Now, this is what Charles Robinson is hearing from his source, whoever his source is. It seems like they know a lot about Jadeveon Clowney because every time we talk to him, he has a full Jadeveon Clowney. The Cleveland Browns, who I think I refused to believe this early, Charles Robinson said they offered him 1, 2, and 3-year deals between $17 and $18 million per year. So let's just say that's 17. That's a $51 million deal. Okay. Now he's sitting in a place where some GMs are being told by the owners of the team, like, hey, let's dial it back with the cash a little bit. We don't know what the future is going to be. You see Logan Ryan signed for $7.5 million. Everybody's like, what? How did that even happen? The number, I guess, that everybody's thinking he's going to get is $11 to $12 million for a 1-year deal at this point. And Charles Robinson said that it wasn't Bus Cook.
Yeah.
It wasn't Bus Cook, his agent. It was Jadeveon Clowney who made that decision. And I'll say this. I have so much respect for Jadeveon Clowney that he looked at a $51 million deal and said, nah, I don't want to go to Cleveland, dude. See, I got $100 million from Puma before I even stepped on the field for the Houston Texans. That's a wild. We'll look back on this and wonder if it worked out or not. Because if he has 1 year here where he goes bananas for a team and they win, his next deal is going to be massive. Because if you can get to the quarterback, that's all that matters. But if this ends up being a 1 year 12 and then another like 6 or 7 the next time, we'll look back and go, interesting strategy, but he might end up with a ring, so who knows?
Listen, for a guy who, if he is looking just to do if he's looking to do a 1-year deal, like, I mean, Cleveland's Cleveland, but that would have been probably the perfect spot. If there's one place you want to be, it's opposite of Myles Garrett if you're looking to get paid after a year.
Yeah, and out of the way of a helmet.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
Yeah, you
True.
want to be on the opposite side.
Yeah, you don't want to be on the field.
You want to be right next to him.
But he's comeback player.
Same jersey.
Because he's got long reach too. So whenever he starts doing a helicopter, like if I hit you, it's on you. Like you want to be far away from that.
Opposite end of the line, really.
Yeah. But Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney on the same D line would have been fucking awesome to watch.
Yeah, what a.
I mean, that would have been awesome to watch.
Do you think the guaranteed money was bullshit then, if that was the case? Or
I don't know. Yeah, I guess you can't ever. It might have been tied up in
One look at
incentives.
that dump of a city and said, I ain't living there.
Jeez.
Come on.
Hey, Cleveland was nice to us. Remember that casino? Didn't we go to a casino?
Great casino.
Great casino down there on the lake.
Well, it kind of have to be.
What?
What?
Well, it's the only sense of any happiness is that casino in that city. So.
Oh, yeah, Pittsburgh. Yeah. Is there anything open in downtown Pittsburgh ever other than a casino?
What do you mean?
You go through downtown, ghost town. Go to the casino, packed house. Yinzers everywhere.
That casino steals money, too.
Yeah,
That Pittsburgh
and
one.
the Pittsburgh casino steals money. It steals money.
Yeah, that's because you don't need to bring happiness to a casino in Pittsburgh. There's other things that bring happiness.
The Cleveland casino gives out money. The Pittsburgh casino it's basically like you're going in there for good karma for the weekend. You're going into the casino, and you're saying, hey, this is how much I'm donating for good karma for the weekend. I'm going to walk out of here. I don't think I've ever seen somebody smile leaving a Pittsburgh casino.
No. Pittsburgh, our citizens are happy, so we got to bring them down here. Cleveland, our citizens are very unhappy, so we're going to bring them up here. That's how the casinos work.
Oh, so
keep
you're
everyone
saying,
on an even
You're
keel.
saying Pittsburgh and Cleveland are the exact same, which is what we were just saying
No.
to Nick here about his bashing of Cleveland.
Pittsburgh and
Can't have
Cleveland
it.
are the same?
No one's
That's what
ever
he just
said that.
You
No
just
one-
did a full fucking graph.
No.
Oh,
You literally just did this.
Well, you misunderstood what I said.
No, you said it and showed it. I mean,
You're at the same level, Tony, like a bar graph.
Stephen Gostkowski just got signed to the Titans. I assume he and Vrabel were pretty good friends. They were teammates at one point for the New England Patriots. They won a Super Bowl together, I'd assume. Stephen Gostkowski, University of Memphis grad, going back to Tennessee. They needed a kicker. Last year they had a few. Ryan Suckup got hurt, I believe. They brought in another kicker. Parkey was there. I think he missed a couple. They brought in Cairo Santos, I believe. He missed a couple. The Titans' kicking game was a massive question mark. You bring in an OG like Stephen Gostkowski. He's a very consistent guy. He had I think he had surgery on his hips last year. So Patriots fans are burying him. The guy could barely swing his leg, which is what's going to happen whenever you kick for a long time. I think that's a good signing, depending on how he's kicking. I have no idea. There was reports that he tried out for another team. His kicks didn't look great. He didn't have the same power, same pop. I assume Vrabel wouldn't sign him if he didn't see the same power and pop. And there's reports coming out about Gostkowski from his last workout. Might have been watching him warm up and said like something's happening. So you can never know what anybody's doing because nobody understands kicking game that well.
Last year they had Cairo Santos, Cody Parkey, Ryan Suckup, and Greg Joseph.
Oh, so I missed Greg Joseph. I felt pretty good as I was running through the Rolodex there, by the way. Not something I thought about pre-show, probably something I should have.
For kickers, is it easy to go from like a power guy, like you were just explaining with Gostkowski, to just kind of change your game to be more accuracy?
No, Gostkowski tries to kill it every time.
Yeah.
And if you try to change it, you're probably going to mess up anyway. So it's like Gostkowski swings so hard every single day. I mean, he follows through like 3 yards every single time. He goes very, very hard.
Yeah.
And that's why he's been so good, by the way, because it's the same exact kick. But if you have one little, like Vinatieri last year, Vinatieri obviously was hurt last year when he was kicking. And you got to remember, for a football, I mean, if you're off by like that much, it's a fat kick or a missed kick or something like that. And if you're injured and it's a little bit something like that, you can see why people kind of fail or whatever. But there's no way Belichick was going to continue to pay Gostkowski. No. And I think Gostkowski knew that, I think, whenever we were talking to him. And he said he was going to go through his rehab, see how he felt, and come out on the other side of it. He ends up in Tennessee, down there in Nashville, on a team that seems to be on the rise there. But in the AFC South with the Jacksonville Jaguars fucking hunting.
Yeah, be careful.
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Philly Rivers, too.
I love Phil. He's joining us in 1 hour and 2 minutes.
Oh.
I've never talked to dadgum Phil Rivers.
I know. I'm so dadgum excited for that combo.
Oh, gosh darn, man. He is... Everybody I've talked to in the building is like, love this guy. Love everything about him. Competitive, can throw the ball all over the place. They're showing highlights, by the way, of him throwing the rock. And it's right in a basket.
Heck yeah.
I'm seeing that.
You never see him on TV. The only time you see him on TV is bad. The only highlights you see lowlights of Phil Rivers. That's all you ever see.
The end of games, him like throwing a pick and then losing.
Yeah, down 10 or something like that. End of game where he throws it into a defensive meeting room. They're like, Phil Rivers did it again. He's like, well, we got a minute 10 left. What the hell do you want from me? It's interesting. And a lot of the Chargers fans said he had to run for his life on a very regular basis. The offensive line in Indianapolis is very good. I'm asking what gifts he's buying them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, offensive lineman might thank me later.
Tractors,
you know what I mean?
maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Indiana.
Yeah. And it takes the tractor another round, another round, another round. Who's that, Aldine?
Oh, yeah.
See that? My Rolodex of music is fucking top notch.
Impressive.
They used to call me a jukebox, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah, human jukebox.
I got all in there. I don't know the names. I don't know who the fuck's singing it, but I do know the lyrics and the words. We got like a minute, so I'm trying to figure out. We talked about the NCAA, Zito.
Oh, we touched it.
Hey, Zito. Zito, we covered it.
You said we will talk about it later. We ended it with it.
But we
talked about it then.
We talked about it then, didn't we not?
You kind of did.
All in favor of putting a check, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Zito?
Yes.
Yeah, see, I think...
Yeah,
I thought we...
It's going up now.
You put that fucking check on that thing.
And boom.
Yes! Yeah! Woo! We're fucking getting hot, dude. We got Terrell Davis joining us in the next couple minutes. He hung up on you?
I've called him 2 times. I think he's in an interview right now, if I had to guess.
Oh, another interview, because he's promoting his Defy Performance, which,
texting
oh,
that
geez,
book
the
right
shorts are a little short there. Looks like I got nothing on. Take care of it, pal. Quads are getting bigger, by the way. I've been on a Stairmaster.
Yeah, how's it been going?
Last night I went like 140 floors, I think.
Sprinting?
No. I'm getting worried, you know. I don't have the same...
But,
you know, because I got in shape for the wedding, and then there was the match with Adam Cole. So, like, in my head, at least, I'm like, okay, can't die in the ring, got to keep going. Now it's like, what are we fucking doing?
Maintain.
We need to get you something to look forward to.
Well, it's like Leonard Fournette whenever he was waking up and going to practice for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's like, yeah, I'm going to run this route, but all right, here we go. All right, we stink. Any extra sprints? Get them tomorrow. But now when you're at the Bucs, it's like, here we go. We might see the best Leonard Fournette we've ever seen, by the way.
Probably.
Yeah.
He's going to a situation where it matters. Every single rep matters. Every single practice matters. Every single team meeting matters. Every single film study matters. Every single extra rep matters. Every single jugs machine matters. That is something that can really, especially a guy who dominated in college and every game mattered there. I mean, that could be something that completely brings you back to life. And he's making more money than he's ever made. He's making $7.7 million with a potential average payday coming afterwards because there's 13 running backs that are going to be free agent after.
First time he's not like the focal point of the offense too, and like the defense is looking across the ball and thinking like, oh, that's the guy we need to stop. Like he's what, the 3rd or 4th guy now on the offense.
And there's a lot of Jaguars fans who came out and said he's been a bust or whatever. It's like I think he would even agree that maybe he had 1 bad year or 2 bad years or whatever, and then he went out to Wyoming, loses 20 pounds. Cut some people out of his life. And last year, he was a stud. And it's like, why would now be the time? I think you're supposed to buy low, sell high. But it feels like he's climbing still. And you should maybe, and you didn't get anything in return. So you didn't sell, actually. You just kind of like were like, fuck it, stock market, take all the money. That's an interesting.
Yeah.
In the simplest football terms, very easy to stack the box against Jacksonville. You ain't doing that against Tampa.
Oh, not whenever Gardner Minshew's out there. You were talking about old Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Yeah, not now Jacksonville.
No, now too.
Oh, you're talking about Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, they got no weapons.
What if Gardner Minshew is next Drew Brees.
Might be.
Could be.
What if Gardner Minshew
Might be.
is the
Still
next
could
Drew
be.
Brees? That's what Jacksonville's holding on hope, I would assume.
That's why they didn't draft Mahomes.
Or they're just
Smart.
or they're just trying to suck and really try to get in that lottery for Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields. If you get Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville, which is an SEC area there,
Oh, yeah.
or an ACC area there, I mean, that's a good move. What if Trevor Lawrence says, "Now go back and play another year"?
What if he does do that?
Yeah.
What if he does?
Will you stop yelling? We had to put a
I
compressor.
can't hear myself when we started. I couldn't hear myself.
Turn up the fucking thing.
I did, and then I said something, and it hurt.
Now you know what we feel.
Yeah, I got to turn
But
it
for
down.
By the way, buying time right now for
for those of them, those saying that he was a bust.
Yeah, we are just like this conversation. People saying doesn't matter. Doesn't. You're right. Like we're 100% buying time. Go ahead, Diggs. A
Double
little
check
factual
the
statement.
Fournette.
But yeah, those saying that he was a bust. He had 1,300 yards his rookie year, and then in 8 games when he was hurt, he had 624 yards. So that would have been 1,200, and then he had 1,700 last year.
In 15 games.
And he playing for a team that does not matter.
I feel like those are good numbers.
Yeah, playing in London a couple times, playing in front of like Tarp Stadium.
You're playing from behind all game.
By the way, we're throwing the ball at that point. What are we doing? Just doing check down? Hey, joining us now, a man who is a two-time Super Bowl champion. He's a Super Bowl MVP, NFL MVP, 3-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro, 2-time NFL Offensive Player of the Year. He's a member of the All-Decade Team, Broncos Ring of Honor, and founder of Defy Performance, incredible CBD sports drinks. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us, the founder of the Mile High Salute, Terrell Davis.
What's up, gentlemen? What's up?
Hey,
man, what time was our call this morning? Somebody told me 11 o'clock.
No,
That's okay.
we were told 1:30. I was about to just ask you, what time does this 1:30 call start? I was literally about to ask you, what time does this 1:30 call?
I know, Pat. That's what I say to my family and my wife. I'm like, hey, what time is that 10:30 call? What time is that 9 o'clock meeting we're supposed to be having? I was just preparing myself some nice egg whites. I was preparing myself a little turkey bacon. Little protein shake here. I was just trying to get my protein intake up this morning, gentlemen. And then I just finished off a nice cold Defy Zero. That's what you need after you work.
Yeah.
Gotta put that in your system.
Now, what flavor of Defy Zero did you top off that incredible protein meal with?
I had the lemonade this morning.
Oh, that's our favorite. Yeah. The lemonade's our favorite, TD.
Yeah, the lemonade this morning.
Running back is a terrible position to be in right now, especially when it comes business-wise. Now, football game-wise, running backs are always going to matter, especially in games that are important. Run the ball, stop the run is all that matters in December, January, and February. Everybody thinks it's the other way around, which potentially it is because Patrick Mahomes had success, but they have to have a running game to do that. Alvin Kamara, obviously a topic of conversation I'd like to talk to you about, but I want to talk to you about Leonard Fournette's mindset. Yeah. Leonard Fournette gets cut from a team that was a sinking ship. But whenever we start thinking about Leonard Fournette's career, first year had a hell of a year. Second year he was hurt for half the season. Last year had 1,700 yards, accounted for 31% of the Jacksonville Jaguars offense. It feels like Leonard Fournette's only getting better. Now he's going to a team where every practice matters, every rep matters, every film study matters, everything matters that they're going for the Super Bowl as opposed to Jacksonville. Is that something you think that could potentially elevate Leonard Fournette to be an even better player than he's already becoming? And he's on a contract here.
Yeah, there's no question about it. I mean, think about it. When he was in Jacksonville, he just wasn't surrounded by a lot of, talent, at least recently, right? They started to kind of get rid of the roster. He was with Bortles, a couple of years. Last year, they just had quarterbacks. Gardner Minshew, obviously, is now taking over as the head quarterback. But Fournette is kind of been the bell cow. He's been the workhorse. And the offense has always gone through him. And it seems like they haven't designed or gotten him a lot of help on the outside or try to get more of an explosive offense. Now you go to a place where you're not the main focus. When they play a team, you play Jacksonville, it's stop Leonard Fournette. It's always been that way. Well, now, and this is almost criminal and how they can allow this to happen. I remember the commissioner of the NBA when there was a Chris Paul trade, and he jumped in and said, nope, we're not allowing him to go to the Lakers because it just, for whatever reason, I get it. Leonard Fournette was released. He cleared waivers, and he was able to sign with the Tampa Bay Bucks. But wow, man, the embarrassment of talent and riches that they have right now, it's incredible, And so his role, and he's a young back. He's only 25 years old. He's only played 3 years, So he's not like an old back that's been, is in his 8th or 9th year. Leonard Fournette is in his prime right now, and you got him, LaShawn McCoy,
Ronald Jones.
Still, Ronald Jones, who it seems to be coming around. What this allows them to do, Pat, and you know this more than anybody. This allows them to be able to play multiple games. Brady's used to having an offense in New England that morphed every single week. Their game plan was based off their opponent. Sometimes you see the Patriots run it 40 times a game. Sometimes they'll throw it 50 times a game. Now you got Tampa Bay, who have not only the game plan, but they got the pieces. They got the pieces that are going to allow them to execute their game plan. I can't wait, man. I can't lie. I can't wait.
Well, it's just like, if you think about the Chiefs, I mean, the Chiefs last year, they have so many weapons, and Andy Reid was just on a dry erase board, just like drawing up plays. It feels like Bruce Arians is going to be able to do that with Tom Brady's mindset, with Tom Moore, who's there, Clyde Christensen. I mean, they have a great coaching staff. Now they have a great team. A lot of people have a lot to prove, chips on their shoulder somehow. They're chasing rings, whatever it is. I mean, it feels like those two are potentially on paper on a collision course. Real quick, before we continue, is that your head above your head right there?
It's a good buzz.
That is my head above my head.
Oh, yes, what a flex.
That's the bust right there. That's my guy I talk to every morning.
I was about to say, is this the living room? Is this the office? Because I think that would just potentially be on a cart next to me everywhere I go. I would have that thing everywhere.
Yeah, it's in the office, man. I just broke him out. He was in a box for the last 2 or 3 years.
Poor guy.
Yeah, I know. He wanted me to bring him out, so I was like, all right, I'll bring you out, man. I'll let you breathe a little bit,
Did you? There's some people whose busts are terrible. Do you like yours? You enjoy the way yours looks? You think it's pretty accurate?
Yeah, well, because when they had it done, my mom and my wife, they were like on it. So the way it works is that once you get it, you get enshrined, not enshrined, once you get inducted. They have the artist, I guess they call him, or the bus maker, whatever the proper name would be, right? And they actually make it, and then they show you, they let you see it, and they say, well, if you have any comments, do you want to make any corrections, then you can do it. And so they come out, and you stand there for a couple hours, and my wife was in the room, and my mom was in the room when they were doing it. My wife was in the room first, and then the second, once they did it, and then they have like 3 or 4 different, times where they make these adjustments. So long story short, yes, I like it. It looks pretty accurate to me.
Hey, there is some bad ones. What is that? Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Deion Sanders, I think, is not great. I think that one is one that people say does not look anything like it. But if you have a bust, that means you've done pretty good, I think.
Did all right, yeah. Did all right.
Yeah. Do you think Alvin Kamara and the Saints are going to be able to figure it out down there? That is an interesting situation because next offseason, there's like 13 premier running backs that are all going to be free agents. So you saw Dalvin Cook try to get an extension. You're seeing Alvin Kamara try to get an extension. Leonard Fournette just signed for 1 year, so he remains on the free agent list for next year. I don't think he has any leverage, and I hate that. I like whenever players have leverage. But in that particular situation, I think Alvin Kamara has literally got no situation. He's just got to hope that the Saints do right by him and give him an extension.
Yeah, Pat, it's unfortunate. We just saw Joe Mixon get paid as well. The other day, and the numbers. Listen, I'm not going to look at a contract and say $12 million a year is nothing. I mean, please believe me, I'd love to make $12 million a year. All right, so that's just me on the couch. But when you look at it in terms of kind of the market and where running backs should be, I think Christian McCaffrey signed for an average of $16 million a year. Then you had. Derrick Henry, I think he's averaging around, is it 14?
Yep.
Yeah, and only $23 million is guaranteed though over the next 2 years.
Yeah. So these contracts you're not going to see the big long contracts anymore. I think those days of running backs getting long contracts are over. I think it's trying to get as much as you can up front. But back to Alvin Kamara's situation, yeah. I mean, I hope you're right. You know, hopefully the team is looking at it saying, hey, you know, we value you. We appreciate what you've done for us and what you're going to do for us, and we're going to do right by you, and be able to get him what he wants. It sounds like they're getting closer to the sides agreeing on a number. I don't know what that number is, but maybe even like Dalvin Cook, like he's still battling with his situation. So it's messy, man.
Did you ever have any? Did you ever any messy negotiations whenever you were out there? Because you're like Mr. Denver. It feels like you are Mr. Bronco. I mean, this thing is still played. I think 16 times a year or whatever for the Denver Broncos. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't think you were a first-round draft pick. I think you kind of had to come in and earn your way special teams. Did you get any negotiation ugliness throughout your time out there in Denver?
I did not. Thank God.
Yeah.
So you're right. I was a sixth-round draft pick, and what happened after my first year, I was a sixth-round draft pick, and Mike Shanahan and Pat Bowlen, and it was John Beek at the time, came to me after my first year, and they wanted to redo my deal. So that was perfect. I didn't have to hold out or anything because I didn't expect them to do that. So after my first year, they redid my contract, and then after my fourth year, after we had won the second Super Bowl, they came to me again, and we redid the deal again. So.
Oh yeah. Those Super Bowls kind of blend together, huh? Those Super Bowls kind of blend together, huh? Yeah, that's kind of. Yeah.
1, 2. I mean, who's counting?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Did you actually saw this week and had no idea that Anthony Lynn was on those Super Bowl teams? Like, so when like you have a team like that who turns into a head coach, did you guys when you play with them have any idea that like that's what they aspired to, like that he was going to be a head coach someday?
No, heck no. No, there was zero indication that he would have been a head coach. I mean, a coach, I had no indication that he even wanted to coach until he had retired, and then he became the running backs coach. I believe his first team was the Cleveland Browns, or maybe it was the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, but until then, no. And people always asking about like, did you know he was a coach? I was like, nah, not really. I didn't see it. He never told anybody he wanted to be a coach, and I don't even think he knew it at the time. To be honest with you, I think coaching, as a matter of fact, from what I understand, is that when Bill Parcells brought him in and kind of told him he had a job for him, I don't think Anthony Lynn told him he wanted to be a coach. I think Parcells saw something in him and was like, "Hey, I got a job for you. Romeo Cornell is in Cleveland. We're gonna I want you to go work for him." And so I think that kind of got him started.
He's been awesome to learn about.
He's phenomenal, man.
Yeah.
I love the Hard Knocks. I love that, man. I like watching that. Kind of getting the personalities of the players if you're not around them, and it just takes me back to that moment, man. Pat, that locker room is precious. It's a place you can't recreate outside of sports, and when you're gone and you're not there anymore, it's the one thing that most players tell you they miss. They miss that environment. They miss joking around with the players, going to a specific place and just having your time with your buddies, put in the work. And then ultimately you're trying to fight for a common goal, but it's the times off the field in the locker room when are the most memorable times that I can think of.
Yeah, and I think that's why a lot of ex-players like Hard Knocks more than the public does. I mean, it seems the public. I guess nobody's watching. I'm not happy. I am not happy.
No one's not watching it. Wait, no one's watching Hard Knocks.
I get that is. I don't know. I didn't. Literally, I don't think so. Yeah, every time So the way I gauge things is, if I tweet about it or talk about it, what's the reaction? Like, are the same amount of people? And this year, more so than any other, there's been not. So, like, I literally, it's kind of become a buzzkill.
You would think this would be the year because there is not. There's more live programming coming back online, but you would think more than any year that more people are watching television, at least watching some form of
sport,
reality TV, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's associated with sports, and none? Okay.
Well, everybody's saying you're watching on demand or whatever, but it still does not. I mean, I think the people that watch it love it, and then I think the people are like, kind of moving on from it. What are you doing TV-wise this fall? Are you still with NFL Network?
Yeah, I'm with the network, and we're doing everything from home. until they tell us differently.
Oh, is that why Big Bus came out? Like, hey, you had to flex on NFL Network there? That's smart, because that's Hall of Fame city over there.
I'm going to change that back. I'm going to change that.
No, keep him in there. Great. He deserves to be in there.
I'm going to put something else back there.
No. Maybe the 3 Super Bowls. Maybe he put the Super Bowl rings up there.
Yeah, maybe I'll put a Lombardi trophy back there.
That's awesome.
That trophy's going to be renamed, by the way. It's going to be called the Belichick when he retires. They're going to take that name because that man is...
Hey, best coach of all time, huh? No questions asked.
So the question to me is, like, what happens if let's say Tampa wins it? Not Tampa, excuse me, New England wins the Super Bowl this year. To me, they have to forget the bylaws of the 5-year waiting period to name. Yeah. He'd be the first active coach that didn't have to go through the 5-year waiting period. They'd have to change the bylaws of the Pro Football Hall of Fame and put that man in a Hall of Fame right now.
Hey,
if the Patriots win, they don't have to win it. If the Patriots go to the playoffs, they need to go ahead and change that.
Well, I think I don't think Bill Belichick would accept it if it just happened after a playoff, and I feel like that is why the man is the man. It feels like he's always cooking. And now that the Dynasty is releasing some information, that book that was released yesterday about Tom and Bill's relationship and how, he was called fucking Johnny Foxborough is what they said that you called him up there. Yeah, there's a new book out there, a guy named Jeff Benedict, who is a bit long-winded if you talk to him in person, but I guess his books are awesome. We had him on the show yesterday, TD. It was tough. But the book is detailing the relationship between Bill and Tom, and Kraft having the dynamic of it all. And he literally coached Tom as if he was a rookie, and he coaches everybody as if they're rookies all the way up until like his 20th year, 6 Super Bowls later. And the fact that he's able to do that, get people to buy in, and now if he does it in a completely different fashion with a new offense, I would assume, with Cam Newton, because he's going to be able to utilize whatever Cam Newton's strengths are, I think the people who are doubters of him would have to come around and be like, yeah, son of a bitch is good. I mean, he's the greatest of all time. The guy's the greatest of all time. He's so good at coaching football.
Do you know? I don't know anybody who doubts the man. Do you know anybody who doubts?
Yeah. You got to remember, here in Indianapolis, there's a lot of people that hate him. I mean, yeah. Pittsburgh, a lot of people.
They'll point to all the videotape.
Yeah.
They'll point to the deflate gates and all the the whatever whatever they've done and didn't get caught doing, I guess, is what people will point to. Say, well, they're cheaters. I'm like, well, hey, I know I tried to cheat. What was that?
Hey, that was the people, by the way. That was the people.
That might have been the bus. No, the bus didn't fall. So I felt good.
But yeah, you're right, and I think that's why players and coaches who have been in the NFL have a much different view on Bill Belichick in all those spy gates and everything like that. It's like, well, if any other team could have done it, they would have done it. Like that's kind of, I think, how a lot of players and coaches who've been in the NFL kind of view it. They're like, if we could have got away with that, we would have done that in a heartbeat. We just didn't think of it.
No doubt.
Yeah, that's just the way it is.
No doubt. I think we've all tried it. We've all tried to push the envelope, try to push the limits on, especially when it comes to, like, when they say, like, let's say the Brady, the football thing. I have no problems with that, just because when we get ready to play a game, you see guys who cut their pads. Matter of fact, you're supposed to have pads in your pants. And there's a lot of guys who don't have pads in their pants. And so you don't think they have an advantage when it comes to speed and movement and how they feel? Yeah, you feel better. And so all linemen taping up their jerseys, putting Vaseline all on their arms. There's all kind of techniques that players use on the field to gain an advantage, so they feel better, so they can play better. A quarterback deflating the ball to where he feels like he can grip it, so what?
Well,
so what? I mean,
I was on that Colts team, TD. If those balls were fully inflated, we don't lose by 50.
Hold up, but wait, Pat. If I recall that game, you guys were at the second half was worse than the first half.
Okay, all right.
If I recall,
hey, you know why?
The beatdown was worse in the second half with a fully inflated football.
Do you know why we hated that the Deflategate was carrying on for like 2 years as Colts players? Because we were like, we don't think this is a big deal. We did not say anything about this. And now every single time it gets brought up, we just get reminded that in the AFC Championship game, we lost by 200 points. If we could move on from this entire thing, it would be great. And that thing carried on for so long. TD, you think the Denver Broncos is going to win it all?
No, I don't think they'll win it all. I think for them, it's taking steps. I do love where they are. I just love how they retooled. I love Drew Lock. This might be premature in my praise for him, but I've seen everything I need to see from a young quarterback, a rising star, right? And then listen, I'm not comparing him to Patrick Mahomes.
It sure sounded like it.
No, but here's what I am comparing him to Patrick is that swag and that infectious personality, one where the players they see it and they respond to it. When he takes the field and when he's back there, they play different. They played differently when he was in there, and they know he's got the physical talents to be able to execute and get them the football. And his confidence level is through the roof. He jives well. He's connected with them on a level that to me is next level stuff, right? It's like it's already there. Like them cats, when you mention Drew Lock's name to any of those guys on that team, man, the first reaction you get is a smile.
That's good.
Right?
News.
You get a smile and a handshake, like, man, and that's good. Now he's got to obviously grow in a lot of departments, but that's just being a young quarterback. But he's football-wise, he knows his stuff. He's been at Missouri, man. He played in all kind of offenses and stuff and had to really learn. It seemed like an offense every single year. So the small sample size that I saw from him last year, I'm encouraged that continues. And then you add all the weapons. You get, Jerry Jeudy in the draft. You get KJ Hamler. You have Noah Fant there. You still have Cortland Sutton. And then you give me Melvin Gordon and Phillip Lindsay. So they're stacking that. They're a young team too, Pat. They're young. So let's just, that's why I say I want to see another step this year. If they can get to me 10 wins this year, 9-10 wins, then I'm pleased to see them get 9 or 10 wins.
That video of him rapping on the bench, okay?
Yeah.
As soon as I saw that video, everybody was like talking about how cool it was, and I was like, that guy's got it. Like that guy, like, and I think it's viewing something differently. It's like if you're that comfortable, by the way, and you're that radiates through the locker room, like for everybody, and you can't really teach that type of thing. But as soon as I saw the video, I was like, oh, Drew Lock, like this guy's got it. Like, and then he answered it, and he didn't even know what happened. He said in the press conference afterwards, it's like that guy's got it, and I hope he figures it out. Yeah, I agree.
He's being himself, and no other position can have that impact on the team other than that one, which is because that's the one. So he's I'm looking forward to seeing him play.
Go ahead, Dave.
TD, have you heard anything how they're going to handle the backfield with Phillip Lindsay and Melvin Gordon?
What I've heard was it's probably going to be based off kind of week to week deal, and the reason is Melvin's probably going to be the main guy. Because I think just from physically, he's a bigger guy, kind of guy you start off with, and you throw Phillip Lindsay in the mix. But it's probably going to dictate, if you get into a game and Melvin gets hot, he'll probably get the bulk of the touches. If Phillip Lindsay gets hot, he'll get the bulk of the touches. But I know they certainly want to stretch the field. They want to be a more explosive offense. And that's why they brought in Pat Shurmur to kind of get this offense to be one that you have to compete with the Kansas Cities of this world, and that's why the days of going defensive and saying we're gonna hold a team to 20 points. That strategy against Kansas City may not work. So you got to fight. You got to fight fire with fire, man.
Well, time of possession does not matter. Bruce Arians said it this morning. I don't care how long we got it. I just want to know what we're doing with it. That is all I care about. And I think everybody's viewing that, especially with the Kansas City Chiefs. Now the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are loaded up. It's an offensive league. That's just the way it is. Can't thank you enough for you and your bust joining us today. Ladies and gentlemen, founder of Defy Performance.
Go to drinkdefy.com, man, to support us.
Hey, we're going to buy a bunch for the office over here. I'll do that.
There you go.
The Defy Zero is our favorite over here because, I'm getting ripped up. I don't know if you know
I
that.
understand. I'm trying to get on that too.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Terrell Davis. Thank you, Hall of Famer. See you, man. DrinkDefy.com. It does taste good, by the way.
Oh,
Zero
that
calories. And there is CBD in there to make you feel a little bit better. Shout out to TD. Shout out to you guys for watching. We'll be back in about 3 to 5 minutes with AJ Hawk. And then in the third hour, the last hour, dadgummit, gosh darn it, Phillip Rivers. Yeah! Big thanks to TD. Big thanks to all of you. Go ahead and go to the bathroom. We'll be back on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show.
I'm just checking your availability. If you're in Indianapolis now, did you get to Buffalo?
Yeah, I got a plane that's supposed to take me down to game day anyways, so I could definitely have it go to Buffalo first. How long is the flight from Indy to Buffalo? You can find us a plane for like 4 o'clock. I think that'll be perfect.
The best we can do is depart around 5:30.
Okay, do we have any other, can you find any other planes that could get us out of here earlier than that? I was just asked if I could appear in Buffalo within the next 4 hours to basically do the show on Fox tonight.
Okay, I'll call you back.
You know what I'm asking for?
Yeah.
All right, so he's going to call Jim Irsay and see if I can just use Jim's jet. He's calling me back shortly, but just start packing.
Hey.
You're the absolute best. Does this sound like a potential yes, you're saying? He's the fucking best. I would be so thankful. Hey, this is really cool. I don't know how many billionaires would do this for people that have worked for them in the past. This is awesome, and I can't thank you guys enough. Can I take a kendo stick to his back?
We'll talk about it when you get here.
All right, I appreciate you, man. Hey, let's break the fucking internet tonight. What a hilarious life. We are live on Fox in 6 hours and 35 minutes. 3 hours of sleep, no clue what the storylines are. Just fucking let the nuts swing, bro. Let's just go out there and have a good time. Plane company. I know. Here we go, boys. All right. Talk SmackDown tonight. This is going to be a night we're going to look back on and remember. And then we're going to hop on a plane and head to Memphis for College Game Day. I think this is a joke too. I just want to let you know, like, this is the Truman Show. I very much understand that this is not supposed to happen. I got the text at 1:42 p.m. today from Mr. H that says, "Have you heard there have been some travel issues? Can you make your way to Buffalo?" Jim Irsay, owner of the Colts, literally lent me his plane. Might be the most confident I ever tweeted in something. I didn't know we were that good of friends, to be honest. I was throwing a Hail Mary, and he responded and said, yeah. So I got here about an hour and a half before the show, and to work with Renee, Tom, and be on SmackDown with a bucket of makeup on my face. This has been a dream come true bucket list type situation here in beautiful Buffalo, New York. Come on, boys. We're going to be on cable.
By Pat McAfee, replacing our guest commentator Aiden English.
No sleeves in, George. Good to see you.
It feels good here in Buffalo. I got a text from the game, a cerebral WWE official. He said, hey, you might have heard about the travel issues. Can you make it to Buffalo? I said, absolutely. What a magical evening it is, November 1st, 2019. I mean, let's be honest. The Marine was a heater. You know what I mean? He's a great actor. He was great on The Real World. He was great on all of that.
Oh.
Tegan, no!
That's how they do it in NXT, baby. Almost took me out holding another grown lady in the air.
November 1st, 2019, greatest SmackDown in the history of SmackDown.
Pat, you joining us? It might absolutely be correct the way things have gone here tonight.
SmackDown in the history of SmackDowns, November 1st, 2019. It's documented. I had a good time out there, man. I had no idea what was happening, so it was really just natural reaction to everything. That was awesome, dude. That's a real bucket list thing. Game day bucket list, this is like complete bucket list. 2 in 1 week. Oh yeah. With a horseshoe shoved up my ass and a horseshoe owner lending us a plane. Are you kidding me, dude?
the hell's going on?
What the hell's going on with music, huh? What's going on with music, Diner?
Jay?
Got a malfunction.
Oh, no.
Jeez.
Going on Sirius next week. Can't have malfunctions. What's going on over there, Nick? Everybody take a look at Nick. Go ahead. Cut that.
Look at him.
Look at him. How dialed in he is right now.
I'm sure it's not Jay.
It's playing from here.
Oh, Jay.
What the hell is going on?
Can we get some music, Jay? The show coming in on a break.
Main speakers.
What's that?
It's playing off the main speakers right now.
Oh, so you're saying it shouldn't be. It should be getting shot through here, so he's actually messing it up. Oh, Nick.
Oh, Nick, playing through your laptop.
Oh, my God, Nick. Wow.
Well, who unplugged what?
In Nick's defense.
Oh, I don't even need to hear it from the Toxic Twins, okay?
I'm just saying. I mean, that goddamn laptop looks like it's running Windows 95. So
That
It is actually.
Dude, you're getting a Dell. You know what I mean? I mean, it is interesting. Well, I got a Dell over here as well, and it does.
Yeah, keep it going. I like this.
Yeah, we got background little vibe there.
GTA strip club, right?
Jaeger bombs.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Do we have joining us now, who is probably loving this entire segment because of how professional it is, super professional broadcaster, ladies and gentlemen, AJ Hawk. Oh, no, the mic is still. Oh, no, AJ. Oh, is the mic still?
Got this thing reset. I just got it reset up, and it just fell down on me again.
You had 3 hours yesterday with your brother-in-law Brady Quinn on Sirius XM, and now today we're back, you're back, and the microphone just doesn't work. That seems to be pretty convenient, doesn't it?
It's the arm. The big boom arm doesn't work on it, so I got to hold it like this. I have a little stand I could put it on, but it'll take me a few minutes to do that.
Do you want to do that? Well, no.
You figure out the music?
No,
we can still accost
We got
Nick.
Phillip Rivers in 11 minutes. We could still accost Nick for sure for whatever's going on over there, but we got 11 minutes till Phil Rivers. We have to prep for this conversation, AJ.
Yes, we do. I know. Are you ready?
I think so. I mean, I feel like I'm going to swear, and it's going to potentially just turn him off completely, and he might bounce out of there. You know, I'm a little bit worried about that.
No, he won't. He's not going to be mad about that. You think he's never heard anybody cuss before?
Yeah, but you're right. I'm going to try to be on my best behavior, though. I'm going to drop a dadgummit in the middle of the conversation for sure.
Yes.
Hey, speaking of dadgummit, did you expect the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to sign Leonard Fournette? I think you said that a couple days ago. He said the Saints and Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you said, even after they signed LaShawn McCoy and they have Ronald Jones in there in the backfield. How did you know that Tampa Bay was going to potentially be in the market for Leonard Fournette, AJ?
I didn't say. I don't think I mentioned the Saints. I said, what kind of move would it be for the Saints as far as leverage if they brought Fournette in for a workout
but
while
still.
Kamara was holding out?
Yeah,
but I said, don't you think people right now, if you want to ring chase, you go to Tampa Bay, and I think New England is still a place where people want to go ring chase. Since Cam Newton is there, I think those two places still hold, I don't know, a lot of people just, there's something about it because Tom is in Tampa now, obviously, and Belichick is still in New England.
Heck yeah.
So, yeah, I think both those places.
It is alleged that the intrigue from the New England Patriots and Leonard Fournette could have been complete bullshit. That Leonard Fournette's team could have released that the Patriots were interested as a fugazi to potentially draw other suitors into the market, which, by the way, smart move if that's the case, because if you're another GM and you think the Patriots are interested, you automatically go, well, if Bill Belichick's interested, we should be interested. That's why any player that gets cut from the Patriots normally doesn't clear waivers. It gets picked up through the waiver wire because everybody thinks if Bill Belichick has a person on the team, I would assume they're good enough to be on our team. So if that's what Leonard Fournette's team did, very impressed by it. Very, very impressed by it. And if the Patriots were interested in it, congrats to Tom Brady getting another running back over Bill Belichick. Is Tom Brady 1-0 over Bill Belichick already? Sure feels like. Sure feels like.
It sure feels like. Remember when we talked about Tampa, though, for Fournette earlier in the week, I believe? You're like, oh, yeah, but they don't really have much cap space. And what did we say? If they want to get it done, they'll find a way to get it done.
$170,000 is all they have left in salary cap for this year. By the way, that's according to Sport Track, who tracks all that thing, because they gave him a $2 million deal or something like that. Could go up to $3.5 million. He'll be able to double dip with that 4.2 the Jacksonville Jaguars will owe him. So he'll make $7.7 million this year. That is very, very, very interesting because now the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have less than $200,000 in salary cap. If somebody gets hurt, they're going to have to sign somebody. So somebody's going to have to renegotiate somewhere down in Tampa. But I like the BA, Tom, the entire squad down there, AQ Shipley, they're going all in. They say, hey, we're going all in right now. We'll figure out all the cap bullshit later. Let's just go ahead and get all the players we can possibly get here. Leonard Fournette is a weapon for them, and that's going to make that team better, and they're already stacked. That's only going to make them better. Good for Leonard Fournette, who woke up yesterday not knowing where he was going to play. 2 days ago, he woke up on a team that was tanking. This morning, he wakes up getting more money than he's ever been paid, getting paid from 2 different franchises, and playing for a team that every single rep matters. Good for Leonard Fournette. Happy for the guy.
Yeah, don't you think it has to take a bit of the sting out of it, of getting released from the team that drafted you number 4 overall, when the team that comes calling is Tampa Bay with Tom Brady down there in his first year, and Bruce Arians and all the personality and Gronk? Like, he has to feel like he's got like a new lease on life. Like, it's such a different setting for him now, I think.
And he's very young, 25 years old. I don't know how many good veteran leaders were down in Jacksonville for him to like look up to. I've said this before. When I watch like Peyton Manning work, or like Vinatieri, Dallas Clark, Gary Brackett, you name any of those vets, like when I would watch them work, I didn't play their position, but watching them go about their day-to-day made me better. Like watching them kind of do their thing. In Jacksonville, I don't know how many of those you had. Like, I don't know how many of those for Leonard Fournette. So now he's getting a chance to go into a place that the coaching, Bowles, head coach at one point, BA, obviously head coach. Tom Moore's been coaching since he backed up Johnny Unitas. I mean, there's so much veteran, like, stature there. Leonard Fournette's going to learn so much, not just about on the field, but off the field as well. We might see, and I said this in the last hour and the hour before that, we might see the best Leonard Fournette. And that's not just on the field. We're talking off the field, because we do recall he went to Wyoming, cut some negative pieces out of his life, so he's okay with growing as a person. Whenever you're learning from those people that are there, that is incredible for Leonard Fournette. Just think about a couple days ago when he saw Yannick Ngakoue take a $6 million pay cut to get the fuck out of Jacksonville after they traded Calais Campbell, who by all accounts is liked by everybody. Then they get rid of basically everybody on their team. Leonard Fournette had to wake up that morning and just be like, what the fuck is going on here in Jacksonville? And then now here he is, less than a week later, $7.7 million coming to him next year, playing for a team that Super Bowl matters, and he's going to learn more off the field than he's probably learned in his first, 3 years in Jacksonville. I mean, this is win-win-win for Leonard Fournette and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but they're going to have to figure out that salary cap, AJ. They're going to have to figure out that salary cap.
I would like to, at some point, we should take a look at the Tampa Bay Bucs roster with final cuts coming up. There has to be some older vets that are making some good money, that are on the bubble, that are signing. Like, before the Fournette signing, I'm sure they were still like, okay, we got to find a way to trim this roster down, take some of these salaries off of our books somehow, whether we trade somebody, we renegotiate multiple guys, we cut some vets that are making good money. That's what you got to be worried about now. Some of those vets that maybe people look at as overpaid a little bit, either restructure them, some of them might get cut.
That's why AQ took such a small salary, because he knew that the team, he's all in buying in for the team.
Smart.
AQ Shipley, really
locker
smart.
room guy.
Really locker room guy.
Great teammate.
Great teammate.
Hey, don't you think AQ should go to the front office there and say, hey, I know you only have $170K left under the cap. I want it all. Give me that extra.
Have you seen the videos that have been making their rounds on ESPN? Guess what? It's me and Tom Brady hugging each other. Have you seen the photos that have been making their way on the internet? It's me snapping the ball to Tom Brady. We know what we're doing here. Go ahead and give me that $170,000, maybe even a little bit more. Let's go into debt. Let's fucking figure it out. No, I think AQ is very pumped to be down there. And that was when I think now, obviously, he has a relationship with Goody, the offensive line coach, and Bruce Arians, who coached him in Pittsburgh, Indianapolis, and Arizona. So, he obviously had a lot of intrigue for that. But him, and when we talked to Clay Matthews a little bit, him chatting about ring chasing a little bit, maybe down in Tampa, there's no way the Tampa Bay Buccaneers knew that they were going to be a ring chasing town. 1 year ago? They thought they were going to dump a bunch of money into Jameis Winston, which, by the way, he might become a superstar quarterback after this year, learning behind Drew Brees and everything like that as well. But now the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the franchise that people are like, I want to get there. I would like to get to Tampa fucking Bay. How do I get down there? I want the pirate ship on the home stadium. I want the cannons. Yeah. I want all their fans to be wearing orange cream color. Yeah. That's what I want to be. The Buccaneers fans have to be like, what is going on? We love this. We love this.
Don't you think that a similar thing might happen maybe 2 years from now, 3 years from now, if for some reason the Green Bay Packers decide to move on from Aaron and Aaron goes somewhere else? Don't you think you're going to see some dudes like Fournette, like, okay, man, here we go. I may not have thought about this team before, but
what are you hearing?
I see number 12 is the old QB, so I'm going to try to sign up for them.
What are you hearing?
I'm not hearing anything. I'm just saying What Aaron's got 4 years left on his deal, or no? Or is it like the common, I guess, theory out there is that maybe he has 2 years left before the Packers try to.
Is that the
move on?
common theory? I don't know. You tell me. Is that the common?
I'm not
theory?
hearing anything. I don't think anyone's hearing
The
that.
media
but
has
there's only a
been-
couple guys that know what they're going to do with it.
Which media? AJ Hawk, because he's fucking hosting 3-hour series shows yesterday with broken hit.
Fucking everyone at ESPN has really been drumming that up the last few days here that 2020 is going to be Rodgers' last season in Green Bay.
AJ,
they're saying this is his last year in Green Bay.
Yeah, that's the new storyline, especially because
I don't think I'm going to go on a limb and say no. This is not his last.
Oh, is that breaking news?
Whoa!
Is that breaking news? Do you know anything?
Yeah, my opinion is breaking news. Yep.
Okay, so opinion AJ Hawk, he says that there's no way this is Aaron Rodgers' last year in Green Bay. At least another 2 to 3 years. It seems to be the common storyline and thread that you agree with, AJ. Right? You agree with that?
Yeah, I do agree with that.
Okay, so he won't play his entire 4 years left with Green Bay, says AJ Hawk. But
I didn't say that part. No.
Yes, you did.
You kind of did.
I think they would be.
Yeah, you kind of did, though.
No, they would be stupid to not let him play out the last 4 years of his contract. But I feel like they drafted Jordan Love for a reason. They're going to want to see what they have.
We've seen it.
We have seen it. But have you seen
He's been thrown into nets?
Have you seen Aaron bullying his backup quarterbacks, by the way? Ripping the ball out of his hand, kicking it away, threatening to punch his backup quarterbacks. This is a brand new Aaron Rodgers out here.
He's a bully.
He's not a bully.
He's in suck-it mode.
He's making everybody better.
He was. I think he spoke to the media yesterday. Didn't you hear him? He said he's been taking a lot of time to work on himself. Because working on himself and something about that gets him to know other people better if he knows himself better. Like he's in a, he's acting like a mature adult.
And he said he watched the 2010 practice film, saw some things from then that he wanted to bring back, and now he's just been absolutely on fire. I believe it was dropping dimes, suck it signs is what he was doing in 2010, brought that back for 2020. He looks better than he's ever looked, by the way, in all the film that we're watching.
Yes.
And I like that he's already got the handlebar mustache, obviously training camp, normal thing, and then he's getting back in there. He's playing the football good there, AJ. He's playing the football good.
I have a note before the interview starts from our research department that AJ does in fact have a interception against Phil.
Really?
It was in college.
In college, yeah.
Wow. NC State played Ohio State? I didn't know that happened.
My sophomore year, Phil's senior year. Yeah, we went to triple overtime and we barely won. Phil was up for the Heisman that year. Yeah.
Well, Phil Rivers is an absolute stud.
Yeah.
Is he on?
Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now, 8-time Pro Bowler, number 6 all-time in pass yards and TDs in NFL history. A man who's a legend. Dadgum Philip Rivers. Let's go! Let's go, Phil!
Hey, I love the throwing the dadgum in there to kick it off. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, and I caught a glimpse of the tail end of that. I caught the tail end of that story. Yeah, AJ did have a pick that game. That was one of the all-time. That was probably one of the best games I've ever been in. It was unbelievable
overtime,
in the shoe that afternoon.
Now, Philip, you are known. Everybody that talks about, I got a chance to talk to Weddle a little bit about you, and I believe there's somebody else that showed up in the DMs to talk about you a little bit. And the common narrative is, hey, this guy loves football, like absolutely loves football. You've already signed on to be a high school football coach whenever you retire. It was alleged that whenever you came and played the Colts one time, the night before the game, you went over to Lucas Oil Stadium to see what high school football in Indiana was like. Is football is just your lifeline, huh? It always has been, I assume?
Yeah, I've loved the game from an early age. Obviously, Dad being a high school coach, and I was a ball boy and water boy as soon as I was big enough to carry the water bottles and spot the ball. So I've been around it since I was little. But yeah, I love the game. We did mosey over there to Lucas Oil and watch a little high school game and grab a hot dog, I think, there on a Friday night or Saturday afternoon when we were in town. So anytime there's ball on, it drives my wife crazy sometimes because she'll go, who's playing? Obviously it's a little different this year, but it doesn't matter who's on the TV. There's a ball game on. I like to check it out.
I respect it.
Phil, I know you're set up to become a high school coach in Alabama whenever that time comes. Have you thought about any of your current or former teammates that you want to recruit to try to bring on your staff?
Smart.
Hey, it's funny you say that because I've even had some coaches mention, hey, by the time you get done, I'll be ready to get out of the league. I said, hey, I'll need your resume and have to do a thorough interview. But the guy that keeps mentioning to me is Jarrett Johnson. We all remember Jarrett, obviously Baltimore Raven and a teammate of mine in San Diego, and he lives actually down there in Northwest Florida. So I got my eye on him. He keeps saying I'll come over there and run the defense. But they all know, all the guys that know me. The hard part for me is going to be not trying to call the defense, the offense, and the special teams. I would be one of those head coaches that drive a D coordinator crazy, trying to tell him what to call and what blitz to run. So I'm going to have to work on that.
Whenever you kind of give duties to other people, it's kind of a tough thing to do. But I want to talk about you and your energy for football. I've talked to a lot of people in the building, not just players, but you're talking about athletic trainers, equipment managers, people in the front office even, and everybody says, we love Phil. Like, hey, we love Phil. Super competitive. Everybody likes him. Every single day he shows up and wants to be better. Did you expect to fall into a situation like the Indianapolis Colts where it's so perfect? You know Frank Reich very well. You know the offensive coordinator very well. You know the system very well. Great offensive line, good weapons, good franchise. Like, did you expect the Colts to be a place that you were going to land whenever you knew that the Chargers days were probably ending?
I wasn't sure, but having if I was going to leave and go somewhere else, I couldn't think of a better place. And it's one of the things you have. It was certainly a team I was pulling for. I was hoping, hopefully this is a place that can work out. And for all the reason you mentioned, and I heard nothing but unbelievable things about this locker room and this team, and that's certainly been true. And it was interesting with not meeting some of the guys in person. A handful of us got together and got some work done in the summer, but not actually stepping foot in the locker room until July 28th or whatever it was you're a little uneasy about it, especially when I'd been in a place for 16 years and been around the same guys. You mentioned the support staff, from the trainers to the equipment room. There's just a certain familiarity that you have, and you communicate and interact with those guys. So I was a little bit like, gosh, you didn't want to try to force yourself and to be some certain way. You just had to be yourself and kind of ease into it. And I can't say, I'm just very thankful really for how it's gone and the month we've had and how we've come together and grown and still had, built some of that camaraderie, because you mentioned I only know one way, and it's that country, corny, energetic, passion.
No!
That's the only way I know. And so I said, shoot, here we go. It's first, you got to be yourself here at 38 in a new place, and that's the only way I know. And thankfully, I think it's been well received, and I've certainly enjoyed getting to know the teammates here.
You moved your whole family to Florida, which a lot of old white people do whenever they want to retire. Was there ever a thought of retirement, or did you know you were going to come back and play? Because there was a lot of question marks in the media world. Like, nobody knew what was going to happen when he left the Chargers. It was like, what's Phil going to do? He moved to Florida. They're watching where you were moving to. Then the high school football thing happened. It's like, was there ever a thought of retirement, or that Super Bowl, we are going to continue to try to get this thing?
Yeah, I don't think there was ever a real thought of it. I did just feel deep down that my time out west was done, and that was okay. But so we moved there kind of just as kind of our holding place. I still, me and my wife and older daughters talked about, we kind of talked about the whole thing, like what's the plan, but I think it was unanimous. We thought keep playing if, in fact, somebody wants you and it's a team that's got a chance. Let's keep going. So and if it came to that wasn't the case and the cupboard was dry and it was over, I was okay with that. But certainly still excited to keep playing. And I remember when the whole the coaching announcement, it's kind of been in the works for the last couple of years as far as I knew where we were going to end up one day. But the way it kind of went down, I remember calling and talking to Frank and Chris both to make sure they were good with it. I was like, hey, is this going to look all right? All of a sudden I just signed to come play quarterback, and I'm getting named the head coach at a high school. So they were good with it. It's funny because Frank said, hey, you've told me you were going to do that since 2013. So it was more so it was the best timing for the program moving forward. And, it was no secret I've always wanted to coach high school ball, but it'll be there whenever the time's right.
Hey, Phil, who's the poor guy that's the head coach now, just waiting for you to come take his gig?
Well, so the guy that was the head coach there had been a long-time head coach in Alabama and actually won some state championships at different places, and really deserves a ton of credit for getting this program started. It was a brand new program. Last year was the first year of varsity football, so it's a brand new school early on in the stages of the football program. So he decided it was time for him to step down. I think he's still involved. And so it was one of those deals. I was talking with the AD, and it was, hey, if there's a young coach in Alabama that you want to go get him. By no means don't feel like you owe me anything. But they were all in on having me be a part of it. So the AD is the head coach in the interim and until I get down there.
Oh, I can't wait for those calls after the year. Like, if let's say you go on and win it all, obviously, the guys can be like, I'm about sick of being head coach. You think maybe you're coming, well, we got to run it back, dadgummit. Phil, the thing, you talked about Frank Reich 2013. I mean, that's 7 years ago. You were 16 years with the Chargers. You don't normally see franchise superstar quarterback just kind of end relationship. They move on. You move on, and there hasn't been as much conversation about it, but for me, it was a very weird situation because the team moved cities. There was the story that you didn't move your family. You were driving back and forth in like a pimped out Sprinter van or whatever. The pictures made the thing. You just kind of knew that your time was coming up there. Like, what was the indication that it was like, you know what, this is probably for the both of us kind of just time to move forward?
Yeah, I definitely think, I was appreciative of the way it was handled as far as it didn't turn into this, a big deal in terms of, back and forth and not on the same page. I think really it was going into the last season. I played the last year out of my contract, which we were coming off a 2018 season where we had an unbelievable year, obviously get beat in New England. And so if there was a time to extend, it would have been there. But I can say that was mutual as well. There was some talk about, maybe adding a couple years, and then there was, we don't have to. And I said, shoot, I'm fine. Let's just play it out and see where we all stand. And so we did that, and it wasn't the best of years to say the least. Obviously it was a rough season. I certainly didn't have my best year by any means, and I just felt like it was time. You just felt a little bit of a feel in the building that maybe they wanted to move on, but certainly didn't want it to end messy. Yeah. And I was kind of like, well, shoot, guys, I think it's time to, as hard as it is. And I hate that I wasn't able to lead that franchise to a championship, but just felt like it was time. And both sides kind of agreed to that. And then here I sit over in off 56th Street in Indianapolis right now.
So what's it feel like now that we're so close? I know the boys and Pat are very excited. I mean, NFL football is about to
Pumped. Phil, 7 days, Phil. Yeah! 7 days, Phil. Let's go. Come on, Phil. I can't watch high school football, but NFL football is back 7 days. I'm sorry.
Yeah, what's it feel like that it's actually here? Like for me, it almost, just as a fan now, it feels weird. Wow, we're right around the corner, man. They're going to be playing some NFL football.
Dude, it's here. It is here. There's a little different vibe in the building even these last couple of days. I think you just feel game week. Game week's right around the corner. AJ, it's a different feel when it's game week than it is a day 26 of training camp. It feels different when, game week's right around the corner. So, it's interesting. We were just talking with a couple of guys. It is weird, though, in the fact that usually you have those preseason games, not only for young guys and for a lot of us to kind of, get going and get back a feel of what game feels like, and for young guys to obviously get those reps. You also get to have a little, I kind of call them team bonding experiences. You get to put on that same uniform. You've been going against each other all training camp. You actually get to go out there and suit up and pull for your guys. So we haven't gotten to do that. It's been all combative. It's been all O versus D now for the whole month. So the first time we take the field together in the exact same color will be Sunday in Jacksonville. So it will be, I know it won't be a packed house in the stadium, but I don't think there's going to be any lack of juice from this group. We'll be fired up and ready to go, and I just can't wait for it to get here. And shoot, the guys are pumped. We get a couple days now to kind of rest. That weekend before the opening weekend is always nice. You've had a long training camp. You get to spend some time with family and relax a little bit, and then shoot, come Wednesday, it'll be a game week schedule, which we kind of simulated this week. Frank put that together this week, so we'll be ready to roll come Wednesday.
COVID-19 isn't the reason I won't be a packed house down there in Jacksonville. They are. I mean, I'm pumped for you to go out and put on a show, Phil. You didn't say it, I did. Whenever you played with the Chargers, you had one of the most underappreciated and underrespected wide receivers out there in Keenan Allen. Right? Nobody ever talks about Keenan Allen. Now you're getting a chance, I think, to learn a lot about T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Hilton is a guy that I was very lucky to see him come in and see him grow and blossom into the Pro Bowl player, but he's very underappreciated league-wide for whatever reason. In the last couple of years, he's been our only focal point, so he had double coverages in a lot of situations. Now you got Pittman in there as well. What does he look like, and what are your thoughts on T.Y. and getting a chance to build with T.Y.'s relationship?
T.Y.'s been awesome. I got to be around him a little bit at the Pro Bowl a couple of times, but you never really know until you're with a guy every day, on the practice field and interact in the locker room and just chatting it up. So it's been. Here's the thing for me that stands out. He's a great player. The dude loves to compete. I mean, he loves to compete all the time. He's competing, and there's something about great players that usually they all have that makeup and that mentality. So he has that first, and then you throw in the fact that he's a heck of a player, unbelievable ball skills, can still stretch it vertical, and then usually guys that are speed guys, and I'm not that I'm classifying him a speed guy. He does have great speed, but they don't always have great feel. And then, I said this the other day, the best receivers, you mentioned Keenan, but and the others that I've had and been around, they all have great feel. They know where the windows are. They know when to throttle a route. They know when a back shoulder's coming. They know all those things. And so that's been something that he has that. So the timing and the understanding, the little nuances of routes have been they've come very quickly. So it's one of those deals where we've had throughout the camp where we make a play here and there in practice, and you would think, I just feel like you would think, oh yeah, so how long have that quarterback and receiver been together? And you tell them 4 weeks, and they go, there's no way. Not that it was an unbelievable play. It's just a little subtlety of a route concept, and we're on the same page because he has such great feel. And then yet I've seen the coverage and that route concept so many times, and that meshing together makes for a good combination.
Nice.
Phil, I know you played for Chuck Amato at NC State, and that guy is iconic, I feel like, on the sidelines. I remember before we played, I was able to play against you my sophomore year, your senior year. You were up for the Heisman, all this stuff, amazing game. I remember my linebacker coach being like, hey, now this head coach, he has a presence about him. I'm just letting you know he's going to be out there. And he's like, and you go out there, and this dude, super tan, slick back hair, sweet shades on, and super barrel chest, real upper. Like, is there any other coach you've been around that can bench more than Chuck Amato?
No way. You got it right. I mean, he had the sweet Oakleys. He had the Jordans. He wore the Jordan shoes on the sideline. He, in the weight room, there was a machine that was built called the Amato press. I mean, it was the Chuck Amato press. So I mean, he definitely got his bench press in.
Incline?
He was awesome. But definitely brought the flair and the swagger. And really, NC State to that point was up and down, and he really kind of got that program kind of on the ascend. Those 4 years where I was there, and he was brand new as a coach, and kind of turned the whole program in the right direction.
I heard you're a pretty good cornhole player.
I'm not bad. I had some good runs this training camp.
Yeah.
We had a cornhole tournament actually last week. Yeah. Frank canceled a walkthrough, and we had in the indoor. I mean, they had boards set up everywhere, and I got knocked out a little sooner than I'd like.
No.
But not to make an excuse, but every board's different. Every set of bags are different. I like to find the same set and keep it right there.
Well, there should be some consistency in the bags because you need the slick side, you need the stop side, and the boards need to be a little bit thick here so we're not just bouncing all over the place. I don't know if anybody's told you, I used to run that locker room in cornhole.
I've heard from Conti that you kind of got the whole thing started. So now there's 2 sets of boards set up in the locker room.
Oh, let's go!
You can believe that was certainly the game played during some big breaks during training camp. What I'd never done, you always play to 15 or 21, the bust or no bust. I'm not a big fan of a bust.
No, you go through that. That's for losers.
It lasts forever. Yeah, you're up 20-1 and you can lose because you keep busting. But the game that kind of
that's not my corner. That's not my locker room, Phil. There's no way you're letting that fly in that locker room, Phil.
It mixes in there a little bit. But the game is just the 4-bag. Play 4 bags down and play best 2 out of 3. That's the quick one. You got a meeting in 5 minutes. Come on, let's get a quick series in. So that's kind of been the go-to, I think, for the most part.
So you're just competing in everything, huh? Trash can toss, yeah, need it. We're going to go, 3 bags? All right, we got what, minute and a half? Let's go through. You just love competing, huh? Love it.
Basketball, shooting baskets, shooting baskets in the team room. Yeah, shoot. Let's compete in something. We can't yet. And what's funny, because Dad being a high school coach, and my dad's super competitive, but I got a lot of my competition from my mom. My mom playing a board game, it could be Sorry or Uno or whatever as a young kid, and now she's doing it with my children, with her grandchildren. She doesn't let them win. I mean, there's no, we play to win. What do you mean we're not keeping score? Playing for fun? It plays for fun. You can have fun along the way, but you play to stink and win the game.
That's true. Hey, Phil, last thing for me. I know you're all set up down the road to become a high school coach. When you look around and you see, okay, Sean McVay, Monday Night Football came after him, Drew Brees is setting up, we see what Tony Romo's doing. You ever sit back and be like, you know what, I could probably go collect about $10 million entertaining people calling games?
That was the only thing I didn't mention to you during that time in Florida. That kind of got brought up a little bit. The whole TV side got brought up a little bit. Never really gained any steam. But I think I'm not ever going to rule it out. Certainly would be humbled with even any opportunity like that. But it goes back to what we just said. I think it's hard to compete in the booth. It would drive me crazy that I can't have an effect on the score. That'd be, so I think that's the only thing. I think if that ever came to, I'd still have to be coaching on the sideline on Friday night somewhere. But,
you comparing yourself to Tony Romo's game to see who won would be awesome.
Yeah, how about that? How about the post-game analysis of who called a better game? Tony's really good now. He is really good, and it's fun as a quarterback watching and listening to him because he says some things. I'm sure for him early it was hard, and I think he's great, but early I bet it was difficult for him not to talk too much in the schematics and all that, like he's sitting in a quarterback room, because sometimes I was listening to him early and I was like, yeah, man, that's exactly right. Tony's calling out blitzes and calling out where they're checking to run to. And I'm going, the people at home are probably going, man, this is high level quarterback play we're getting from Romo.
It was a lot of fans felt like they were drinking from a fire hose at that point, but we felt like we learned a lot. Tony Romo has set a new standard. I hope you get a chance to do that someday if you want to. If not, Coach, I hope you get a chance to win a Super Bowl. We're very thankful you're in our city, man. Everybody has had glowing praises for you, even back for the Chargers fans, the Colts building. I mean, you've done it right, man, and we hope you end up on the top of the mountain at someday. You deserve it.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it, y'all. Thanks for having me on. It's been great. The community's really welcomed our family too, as well. And we love it here. It's funny. I keep telling everyone we're looking forward to the 4 seasons. We're looking forward to having a little change up. We've swam on Christmas Day. Like 8 of 16 years out there. So I get quickly reminded. Yeah, it's nice. Fall's good, but you won't be swimming. That's for sure on Christmas. So, but we're looking forward to that. This locker room and this team's great. I think the big thing was it wasn't a fix-it deal or, hey, we got locker room issues. We really need a leader in here. This locker room's awesome, and it's not by any means me coming here and doing anything special. It's we say it a lot. Frank said this a lot to the guys. Be the best version of yourself. For this team this year, and I think that's what I'm going to do. And we got a heck of a group, and I always say, see if we got to score one more point than the other team. Each week, that's the goal, score one more point than the other team. If it's 3-2 or 38-37, and keep our head down and see what we can do.
You guys win a game 3-2 this year, I'll be pumped.
I guess I'll ultimately be happy. I wouldn't be very happy. But I wouldn't be very happy 3-2. That'd be a rough outing.
Phil, you always, and sorry I'm asking more questions because the more you talk, the more I'm just thinking.
You tried to close it out, and I didn't let you.
Well, the way you throw is obviously a topic of conversation for everybody, especially as you get older, because it feels as if it's a lot on your arm as opposed to your body. Was that just your natural throwing motion early, and has it just always been that way? Did you move into that throwing motion, and do you think it is such a waste of time for people to talk about it because you put the ball on the money, it seems like, every single time?
Yeah, no, I understand it. I think it's going to be, it'll be part of kind of my whatever. That'll always be part of my kind of game. Will be the throwing motion. I'll give you the shortest version I can give you. So
take your time, Phil. Take your time. We got nothing but time.
Going back to being a little boy, the ball boy, and everything with my dad's teams. I was around his practices. As 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old and throwing a regulation size football. So I couldn't quite palm it, so it's in your hand, and I couldn't, grab it. So you had to lay it in your hand and then push it. So my dad kind of think that's where it started. And then as you get a little bigger and stronger, you still have that muscle memory and that movement's kind of ingrained. So although I probably could have altered it, I kind of kept it kind of in that little slot and that little 3/4 delivery. I do think it's helped me, allow me to throw in multiple arm angles, whether you're throwing around linemen or need to throw it around someone. And, the only time he got mentioned was freshman year, NC State. Norm Chow was the coordinator. He sent the tape. He asked me, he thought I was injured. He said, is something wrong with your shoulder? I said, no, Coach, I guess that's just the way I throw it. And so he sent it to Mike Holmgren, who he knew, who was in Seattle at the time. And Holmgren said, if he's accurate and doesn't get a lot of balls batted down, then just leave it alone. So we left it alone. That was kind of the last straw as far as do we tweak it or not. But so that's the story that we believe and that's been told. But my son, who's 12, my oldest son, he throws it the exact same way. And now he's thrown like youth football his whole life. So maybe there's just something that we're wired to throw it that way. And when he was 7 or 8, I said, hey, Gunner, pick your arm up a little bit, just a little higher. And he said, Dad, you throw it that way. So I said, you're right. Keep throwing it that way. So, it may just be a Rivers gene. I don't know.
Gunner is a hell of a name for an NFL quarterback. I cannot wait to see him succeed.
Hey, so I've always said, it's my mom's maiden name is Gunner. That's why we named him that. Oh. But if he can throw it or if he can shoot it, then it'll work out.
Yeah, and I feel like with his dad and how competitive your genes seem to be with your mom and what you've been able to accomplish thus far, and you have an entire 2 teams of kids competing against each other every single day, I feel like Gunner has a head start on everybody else. Ladies and gentlemen, perennial All-Pro, superstar, Indianapolis Colts quarterback, Philip Rivers. Thank you, Phil.
Yeah, Phil! Hey, Matt, AJ, good to see you guys.
Hey, Phil.
Hey.
How many kids? I'm about to get into the kids' world, I think. Which one?
That's 2 times we've closed it down and opened it back up. So there's 9. There's 9. It's 7 girls and 2 boys. So the boys are 12 and 8, and then the girls surround them. 3 older, 1 girl in the middle, and 3 younger.
Which number of kids was it like? All right, we're playing a little bit too much zone defense right now. Did that happen, or has that not happened yet? Maybe we'll get to 10.
Well, I think you get broken from a standpoint of you get broken to really just let go when you get to 4. That was kind of when my wife said I finally just then the bows didn't have to be perfect in the hair anymore. I'm going to grocery store with diaper in back pocket. There's no more diaper bag at that point. It's just back pocket diaper and hold a sippy cup. We'll survive. If we have to go get some paper towels to change the diaper, we'll make it work. So that's after 4. But I tell you what, having the 3 oldest girls, so I have 1 girl, now 18, but 18, 15, and 14, that's they're like little moms in the house. So that certainly helps out with the zone defense.
Well, good for you. Now I'm done with this convo. Philip Rivers.
Yeah, Phil. All right, fellas, see you guys.
See you, man. Good dude.
Great.
Legend.
Hey, good guy there, Phil Rivers. By the way, everybody I've talked to in the Colts building, in every different department, they're like, this guy's been just a dream. High energy, high competitive. Every day he's the same exact person. He's welcoming. He talks to everybody. In that cornhole in the locker room, I guess he's really been popping off over there. I'm happy the Colts got him, and he's stuck around. I mean, that was a pretty long conversation for a guy in the middle of training camp, I'd assume, AJ.
Yeah, I'd say, the talk tried to shut down 2 or 3 times, and he wanted to keep it going. So, yeah, man, I think it seems like a perfect fit, doesn't it, for Phil? I mean, we know how good their offensive line is, but it seems like a culture fit too, which I think Phil would have fit in anywhere. But there's definitely some places he could have gone to and been looked around the locker room day 1 or week 1 is like, all right, this is not the NFL I'm used to.
They picked him over Tom Brady, the Colts. Chris Ballard basically confirmed that to us on schedule or draft night or whatever. When I said, hey, there's a report coming out that Tom Brady's team was interested in coming to the Colts, and you guys said, nah, we're going to go with Philip Rivers instead. Is that true? And he said, I can't confirm nor deny that. Like, whoa, okay. So that means, yes, that happened. And then once I'm starting to hear the stories come out of the building and how comfortable he is in that offense is literally just like, he doesn't have to learn anything. He's almost like teaching people allegedly from what to do. I mean, it seems like a perfect fit. If he goes on a run and wins the Super Bowl here, yeah, I hate to hear it. I hate to say it for the Chargers fan. You will never see Philip Rivers in a Chargers uniform ever again if he wins the Super Bowl at the Indianapolis Colts. It's happened with Peyton when he went to Denver. I assume it's going to happen with Tom whenever he goes to the Bucs if they win one. I mean, he's going to be remembered as a Colt forever, even though his Chargers years were obviously special. 16, that's a long time.
Yeah, he may have to take a high school gig in Indiana if he wins the Super Bowl this year with the Colts.
I don't know. I feel like that prep school he's going to down there in Alabama, I'm not sure like the Butler Bulldogs are even paying that amount of money.
They're probably competing with like IMG.
Yeah, I think those prep schools, those high school prep schools, they go all in. Like, hey, we want to win down here in Alabama. Remember 2 days or whatever, whenever Hoover High was all over everything. Alabama high school football is a big deal. How's that microphone doing? I saw you holding that thing the entire time. Is that still happening?
Yeah, it's got the big boom arm connected. That's the problem. Yeah, the clamp came off. I'll get it figured out.
He's been holding that for 38 minutes.
Yeah, it's been 40 minutes you've been hanging. Are you sweating over there? It feels like you're going
knocking
through
a few things down. That's why I didn't want to interrupt Phil. Something fell, knocked some big thing down.
That's what that was.
Oh, okay. We did hear that. The Did you see Harbaugh came out in support for his brother at Michigan and said, free the Big Ten?
Free him, right? Like, free the Big Ten, basically. Didn't he say that?
Yeah, exact quote, free the Big Ten. General Bob Carpenter has been exhausting every single source that he has to find out what we're at. Have you heard anything new on the state of the Big Ten? Bob Carpenter is coming out and saying, hey, the ball is in the university president's court. They have access to the Abbott instant testing. It's the final hurdle for player safety, and initially the only conference that has it.
The general.
He's worked up.
He's in a foxhole right now.
He's in the middle of a war. What do you want from this guy? It's been exhausting.
Give him a break.
Hey, Bobby, or Pat, Bobby talked about on his radio show in the morning, I think yesterday, about the red line. He mentioned it when he came on the show. And then he said how somebody came back at him for his grammar, the errors that he had made, and his punctuation. He's like, I mean, what do I got to do, man? It's 6:15 in the morning. I'm in the middle of a segment on the radio, and I'm trying to redline this thing. I'm multitasking. Don't come at me with my grammar mistakes.
That's the general.
So that's the general. That's our general. That's the general. It's been an exhausting day, he says. But it feels like
he's exhausted by his hatred for the Big Ten commissioner.
It's a long day, man.
It feels like lots of.
He called every single commissioner.
Every president, you mean?
Yeah.
He called every president, wrote every congressman, but it feels like, he says, lots of progress has been made in the Big Ten. I don't know if that's just with his army or with the actual Big Ten. There's still progress to be made, but the OSU president, Christina Johnson, making a strong statement for fall football and instant testing now available to schools. It's getting close. And then obviously sleepy emoji because he's had a long fucking day out there on the battle lines. If Big Ten football comes back, Bob Carpenter might get a statue. And I am here for General Bob Carpenter get a statue. Have you heard anything in Ohio? You're friends with Bob, obviously the general. Have you heard anything about updates or anything like that? Because you listen to people on Get Up. Heather Dinich, who went to Indiana. She's from Indiana. She said that nothing has changed. Nothing has been proposed to the president. She said that yesterday. Now, it's been an exhaustive day yesterday for the general, so who knows if something changed since then. But I feel like there's mixed sources coming out on whether or not they're going to change anything. What is your feeling towards it right now?
Well, I should have called or texted Bobby before the show because he is my source for all of this, and he has the sources he talks about. But I wonder if
should we have him?
I read the Heather Dinich, what she said. Like, I see both sides. I see Heather Dinich say no, there's no progress made. There's nothing towards the Big Ten coming back any sooner. And then I'll see something 5 minutes later and they say, hey, just got off the horn with somebody in the Big Ten and they think it's a very real possibility early October they're going to play. And I'm like, all right, well, what do I believe?
Dennis Dodd of CBS tweeted at 2:05, so roughly, you do the math, 37, 38, you get it, 38 minutes ago. Multiple sources say no immediate plan for Big Ten presidents to meet to consider fall start to season. One source says October 10th ain't happening. Is General Bob Carpenter losing this war right in front of his eyes? Oh my, the Big Ten Army that General Bob Carpenter is leading is not going to be happy to hear what Dennis Dodd of CBS said. And while we have to remember that there is, I got another text coming through from Nick. Nick says, during a State College area school board of directors meeting on Monday night, Wayne Sebastianelli, Penn State's director of athletic medicine, made some alarming comments about the link between COVID-19 and myocarditis, particularly in Big Ten athletes. Sebastianelli said the cardiac MRI scans revealed that approximately a third of Big Ten athletes who tested positive for COVID-19 appeared to have myocarditis, an inflammation of the heart muscle that can be fatal if left unchecked. When we looked at our COVID positive athletes, whether they were symptomatic or not, 30 to 35% had heart muscles were inflamed. Sebastianelli said, and we really just don't know what to do with it right now. It's still very early in the infection. Some of that has led to the Pac-12 and Big Ten's decision to sort out put a hiatus on what's happening. Now, what isn't said there is what the other doctors who will immediately tweet underneath that report that says, well, that happens for the flu, that happens for the cold, your heart gets inflamed anytime it battles an illness. And now, who do we believe? Who do we believe? Mr. Sebastianelli, who is, I don't know if it's a Paisan guy or not. Athletic.
Not my Paisan.
Well, that does not directly help out General Bob's army, that particular quote. Or do you believe the people that come out on the other side of it, they're like, well, that happens everywhere. This is the problem. This is the problem. You don't know who's right, what doctor studied fucking more, who's, you just don't know, AJ. And that General Bob Carpenter's got to fight against that every day.
He does. He's getting shelled in his foxhole right now.
He is.
He loves it. He loves it. I mean, Bobby, he lives for this. I think this is where he thrives the most, when he has a cause to fight for, where he can gather the troops and bring them with him. It's just his thing, man. I've known him for a long time.
Hey, right underneath the tweet that you read or whatever, the very first tweet is how the Big Ten doctor and the SEC doctor have completely different viewpoints on the.
Is this just going to be the way our world is forever now? Is this just what it's going to be? Like, okay, this person. And now, granted, I love the fact that we are now a society where we have access to more information than we've ever been. I think that's a good thing. I think people learning and all that stuff. But then whenever the same information starts getting pitched in different directions, I mean, that's just, it makes no sense. It's like, well, who's making the decision here? Greg Sankey's like, I heard what they did at Big Ten. We looked at those numbers too. And turns out our King James version of those numbers is much different than their fucking Bible that they're reading from. I mean, it is this is a wild time to
pick
be
a side.
And
That's all it is.
I told you guys yesterday, I got a carditis. It's not a big deal.
Come on.
Diggs does have a carditis. He can't do Jaeger bombs. AJ can't do it.
It's not a big deal.
How do you learn about that? You just did a bunch
Well,
of them.
it feels like you're having a heart attack, and then you get rushed to the hospital, and then they tell you you're not having a heart attack, and then they tell you what you have, and then you figure it out.
Every time your friends go out and want to order a bomb of some sort to drink, you have to tell the bartender, excuse me, keep it ginger ale in one of this instead of Red Bull, because I will die here.
Is it a caffeine thing?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of different things that can set off the inflammation around your heart that makes you feel like you're having a heart attack, but you're not really having a heart attack, so it's not a big deal.
I mean, I'm worried about
I didn't know it was a fake ass. I didn't know you could have been having Vegas bombs and all that stuff with us. I mean,
what do you mean? Vegas bombs?
Everybody knows my go-to is like, hey, I'd like for like 100 people, and then you always go just 99 actually. One with ginger ale.
I've come around because if I die, I die, but I've started actually taking.
Oh, Kirk Cousins!
Hell yeah!
How do you feel about Kirk Cousins coming out and saying, if I die, I die? People hate him for it. I guess I did not know that there was that big of a backlash for what he said, but boy, people are not happy with Kirk Cousins saying, if I die, I die.
Didn't this get taken out of context a little bit? I know it was on Kyle Brandt's podcast deal that he has on Spotify or whatever, that Aaron was his first guest earlier. But yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly. I need to listen to the whole thing, but he's channeling Ivan Drago with Rocky. If he dies, he dies. Like Kirk obviously feels this way about it, but he did say, I still wear a mask to protect other people and everything. Like he's not saying like I'm just willy-nilly just flying around. I guess he's basically telling us it doesn't take up a whole lot of space in my brain, like worrying about COVID.
Which, by the way, here's Kirk Cousins, mentally tough enough to battle against COVID, not even worry about that, not distracting. He even says, listen, if I die, I die, dude. Okay, I got film to watch. And that's primetime Kirk Cousins. This is a new Kirk Cousins here. He's taking some heat on the internet. He doesn't even know. You know why?
Locked in.
Locked in Kirk Cousins, primetime Kirk Cousins, the same Kirk Cousins that won in Jerry World, and the same Kirk Cousins that won down in New Orleans in the Superdome, and threw a potential pass interference to Kyle Rudolph to get a playoff victory.
Well, hey, maybe this is, like you said, new Kirk Cousins. Maybe he loves it. He wants to become a heel, right? You're a wrestling guy. Does he want that?
If Kirk Cousins becomes a heel, I'm for it, because there's nothing better than a super smart, nerdy heel who
loves the Bible.
What's that?
Who loves the Bible. That's a good heel right there.
Oh, a Bible heel?
Oh, yeah.
A Bible heel.
Yeah.
Well, the Bible heel, if Kirk Cousins becomes that, and it's you like that every single week, I am here for Kirk Cousins saying, if I die, I die, you like that. I'll wear a mask, keep everybody else safe, but I just want to let you know, 0.00001% of me worries about that whole thing. I love Kirk. I mean, the NFC North, okay? You got Matty Stafford up there. Yeah. He's back from a broken back. You got this new Kirk Cousins who, if I die, I die. Primetime Kirk Cousins. You got Aaron Rodgers who's playing the best football he's played in a long time in his eyes and in a lot of other people's eyes. I mean, the Chicago Bears, the Bears have a quarterback or two. The thing about that NFC North is I think it's going to get very, very contentious in that NFC North all of a sudden, Ty.
Nah, I'm not worried about it. Packers are still going to win the division. I mean, maybe if Kirk Cousins changes his name to Kurt Cousins, and that's kind of a heel move. I wouldn't mind seeing him do that. But
you hate the name Kirk.
I don't hate it, but I mean, I think that's synonymous.
Should Kirk Cameron change his?
Kurt Cameron?
No,
from Growing Pains?
Yeah.
That guy stinks.
New Ty would know. It's amazing.
Great pull by Ty right there.
Yeah, great show.
He makes some waves. He's a very religious guy. He makes some waves in different comments he says over the
You're on the internet more than I am, by the way.
It's not the internet. He's not even on the internet.
Yeah, he is. That guy's the internet.
Knowledge.
That guy's the internet. I was assuming. That guy's the internet.
You're right. Actually, you're right. I read the internet. I don't scroll through Twitter and Instagram. That's where I get my news, of course.
Well, my internet is Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah, but yours is, I guess we just have different views on how we approach it.
Well, the things you learn about on the internet are much more despicable than the things I learned about on the internet.
It's true.
Oh, what Chuck Berry? I learned about that.
Show's over. Show's over. All right, AJ.
Middle school, man.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow, AJ. Is there anything else?
Don't salute at me. And I was left-handed. I didn't, no disrespect.
Yeah. Oh, the military. Oh,
don't let General Bob.
Wow.
That mic continues to fuck you.
Yeah.
Whoa.
What did you say?
That mic continues to fuck you because you couldn't salute right-handed.
You're right. You're right.
What do you got
How you
going?
doing, Pat?
What's the stadium thing? You working for Stadium? What's going on there?
I've done games for Stadium. Yeah.
What is Stadium?
It's a network.
That's who.
They doing television?
Yep.
Stadium's on the television?
Yeah, it's on. A lot of the games I've done, they air. It's internet, and then they air them all regionally and locally.
What games have you called for Stadium? Is it high school, college, NFL?
College, Conference USA games. Yeah, and I'm probably going to do some this year.
Oh, here we go.
Breaking news. We're playing.
Is that breaking news?
No.
That's who Shams is
Feels
with,
like
or was with, or is with.
No, he's with the Athletic, isn't he?
Both.
Oh, he's with the Athletic and Stadium? Is Stadium a network?
I believe so.
Okay, good for you, AJ. Look at this. Look at this.
Look at this. Yeah.
What games you call? Conference USA games? How many games you calling this year?
I don't know. We'll see.
Hopefully all of them.
Let's break the news, AJ. I mean, let's break the news.
No
here.
news. Yeah, there's no news to break. Yeah, I've done games for them the last couple of years. It's
Whoa.
fun. I enjoy
Okay.
doing it.
Whoa.
They're
AJ.
sending people. I think they're planning on sending crews to the games, and I like that.
Let's go,
Yeah.
AJ.
I like that.
There you go. We like that, too.
You like that?
How do we watch that? How do we watch those?
Don't worry about it. You don't need to watch.
No, I would like to
watching.
watch.
Oh, we're
I wanna
watching.
I'll let you know. I think September 26th will probably be the first one I do. I'll let you know.
Breaking news!
Wow.
Breaking news! Look at this! September 26th, Stadium. AJ Hawk on the call for a Conference USA game between. Diggs is searching right now.
Trying to.
Memphis.
Southern Miss.
There's a lot of them.
Who?
Southern Miss.
Southern Miss, let's go!
They play tonight.
Yeah, they do.
Are you
They
gonna-
kick off the season tonight.
Hey, I'll watch some film for you to see if you could pick up anything because I also called college football games last year, so I can tell you the little nuances of what.
Yeah, can you break it down for me? Will you send me like a detailed report on Southern Miss?
The big thing is don't learn any of their names, because then you'll be kind of biased towards the ones you know their names. Just know the numbers, and that really works well on TV when you say, "Oh, number 84 just went after it there," and then everybody's like, "Yeah, you fucking he's on a Heisman candidate list." Oh, that's on me. I think that is how you should approach potentially the games if I were you.
Okay, thank you. I will make a note of that for sure. But yeah, I don't know. Are you going to be doing games again?
Nah,
No.
wasn't invited.
I mean, your schedule you had last year was unmanageable.
Yeah, I would argue that is accurate. I would argue that schedule last year was a mistake. Hindsight, look back and say probably should have died there. Probably should have died during that little run.
You're glad you did it though, right?
Well,
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think I'm glad I did it. When you're in the middle of it, you don't even realize how much you're probably just killing your body and your mental health and your whole spirit, and you're gaining like 50 pounds while you're doing it, and you're potentially dropping right into the coronavirus capital of the world once a week, and then high-fiving and shaking everybody's hands, and then you're in 4 cities a week, and you're just going, and then as you get like a month out, you kind of decompress a little bit. You're like happy to be at home. It's like, all right, it's good to be here. Then like 2 months out, you look back and you go, that was the dumbest thing anybody's ever decided to do. And that is, I think, what we all did. That was a part of that run.
what are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
I mean, in hindsight, too, we definitely all got COVID about 2-3 months before it was a thing. So we kind of, eased our immune systems into it.
Yeah, but legit, too. I mean, they actually drew a circle on the hotel we were in and was like, this is potentially where COVID started. And we were there every single
17
week.
20 weeks in a row.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a chance. But, yeah, I'm happy I'm going to be home a little bit more this particular year. But it's not bad to get back on the road. I like seeing people, like shaking hands. Well, it's just a fine balance. But
That's not happening this year for anybody, Pat. No one's hitting the road shaking hands. You'll see some people. No one's shaking hands.
You are. September 26th. The Stadium Network.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to be shaking anybody's hand.
Oh,
jeez,
unapproachable.
You? It's like an air fist bump, right? Isn't that what people do? The cool guys do now.
I do like the. I'm a big.
Knock it up.
Yeah.
Pond.
Do you think will the handshake ever come back? Because pre-COVID, I know people said like, hey, the handshake needs to go. Even before people were worried about a global pandemic, they're like, it's still not like I don't want to shake people's, especially the right hand. They're usually wiping with that when they don't wash.
Well, yeah, unless they're a lefty. Do lefties wipe with their left hands?
Yeah.
I would assume they go strong side, huh?
Yeah, you got
for
to.
sure.
Have to. You can't.
Unless they're switch hitters. So
But
then who
we-
knows?
can't be doing.
By the way, have you tried to lefty? Can't.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's
It's like brushing your teeth, lefty.
Yeah, I've never
You
done
can.
it.
I had a
give
cast
it a
on
run.
for 9 months on my right hand. You can. It's amazing how fast the body can adapt.
Well, that's your body. You remember, you microdose yourself out of being allergic to shellfish. So I think your
true.
body's a little bit different than everybody else's. But the handshake is something I think was potentially dying off and now definitely going to be gone. A lot of Howie Mandels now, I think. A lot of Howie Mandels, a lot of fist bumps or whatever. And I think that's good because that's the expectation of people now. Because there's always that moment where it's like the handshake, dap up, pound, that whole thing. But what also is coming from this pandemic and social distancing thing, food delivery, just leaving the food at your door as opposed to having to go out and have any that is a major upside in this entire social distance. Just they know there's no expectation for us to come to the car. There's no expectation for a conversation. Hey, we'll leave this right at the door and we'll get the fuck out of here. Whoa, big come up for food delivery, I think.
Yeah. You know what? Hey, no joke. This happened to me 2 days ago. We see this car pull up. I'm like, all right, who's this? Some guy comes out, maybe in his 70s, wearing a mask. And I see him. I'm like, man, come on, don't ring the doorbell. I was hoping he was delivering something. Nope. Rings the doorbell, stands there, won't go away. So I was like, all right, I got it. Went to the door. I'm standing there for, this thing went 15 minutes, most likely, maybe longer than 15 minutes. And I was like, oh, hey, yeah, how you doing? He's like, hey, I'm with the U.S. Census Bureau, and I guess you guys didn't fill it all out online like you were supposed to. So I'm here, and I have to ask you a bunch of questions. And I was like, oh, okay. And I sat there for 15 minutes asking questions about who lives here, whatever, all this garbage. And then
government state is this?
Yeah.
They do that in Indiana too.
Yeah. They got you.
I don't want to out the dude or whatever, but then we took a selfie together with his phone. And I'm like, all right, I don't think this is proper protocol. Right?
You're in the deep state, man.
Yeah.
I've never had that happen.
I've never have either. Dude, are you legally supposed to fill out the census? If I got anything in the mail ever from the U.S. Census Bureau, I'd rip it up and throw it away.
It's your duty as an American citizen, AJ.
Good.
To vote, yeah, not fucking tell
they know
everything.
I'm there.
Yeah.
Check the tax records. They know where I pay taxes. They know exactly what's going on.
You see how many dependents I got going on? Why don't you call the IRS and figure this out, pal? You know who I miss showing up at the door? The religious people. Do you know the religious people?
Oh, yeah. Aren't they still going? You don't think they're still going?
I haven't had any come to my house in
No, a lot of those people were old, and they really shouldn't be walking around.
Unfortunately, no. The Mormons are young crew.
Oh, I haven't. I had never had a Mormon visit.
Oh, it's the best.
Yeah.
Now, listen, I'm very different than a lot of people. I want to get called in for jury duty. Okay, like I'm one of those people who wants to experience these things. And those religious people, they're showing up, and they think people are going to want to rush them out of there. No, I got questions. Let's have a full conversation here. I want to learn about this. It gets to the point where they want to leave. Where they want to leave as opposed to me. There's no chance. I'm too, stubborn to change my ways. So you got no chance of bringing me into your cult or whatever. But I got a lot of questions for you. And if you don't have the answers, I start questioning whether or not you're religious enough. Then should I be visiting you at your house potentially? Because I have a field day with those people. I mean, I love it. And unfortunately, I do believe the door-to-door religious folks trying to sell their cult is not going to survive the quarantine. That's a shame. That's a damn shame. What's up, Diggs?
Some breaking news in the NFL.
Here we go.
Not super familiar with his name, but I did check the depth chart. He is the starting safety for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Ronnie Harrison is being traded to the Cleveland Browns.
The starting fucking safety's gone now? Yeah. This team stinks, dude.
What did they get for him?
5th rounder.
Man.
What the fuck?
What's Doug Marrone got to be thinking? Hey, we're setting this all up for the coach that comes after me?
Probably just hammering bologna sandwiches and just sending everything.
And hammering his bologna, probably.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is an interesting situation. So not only did they get rid of their starting running back, 31% of their offensive production last year, not only did they get rid of 2 of their most prominent defensive linemen in Yannick Ngakoue, who takes a $6 million pay cut to get the fuck out of town. Calais Campbell gets traded didn't even know he was going to get traded. Actually thought he was going to be with Jacksonville for a long time. Jalen Ramsey you're just talking about everybody on their team. Nick Foles, Bowie. I mean, everybody on their team is just like. So if you're on the Jacksonville Jaguars right now and you're a good football player, are you trying to suck in practice so that you can get a job? Because it feels like you're not going to have a job with the Jacksonville Jaguars if you're good at football. And I think they're very lucky that this COVID-19 thing is not allowing fans in the stands, or they can take a grandstand and say like, hey, we're not allowed to have any fans in the stands. We're taking extra precautions. Because I don't know how you're a Jacksonville Jaguars fan right now and be like excited, unless you are buying into the fact that, hey, finally, our team is choosing to suck outright as opposed to be average. And if you're cheering for a tank season, that's got to be tough already. But if this works out and they get Trevor Lawrence and the whole team turns around, I guess we hindsight this and say good for them. But that entire building is going to get blown up after the season if they're trying to suck, just like it did for the Colts whenever I was there, whenever we got Andrew Luck.
Yeah, you would think, but when you were talking about that, it reminded me, or it had an idea popped in my head. So, Steve Nash just got named the Brooklyn Nets head coach, right?
White privilege, yeah, white privilege. Stephen A. Smith said it was because.
Someone said that, right?
Stephen A. Smith, yeah.
Okay.
Hey, maybe. Hey, maybe.
We don't know. Maybe. I don't know. But what if Phil Rivers leads the Colts to a Super Bowl, and then Shad Khan gives him a call, and he's like, "Hey, I know you want to coach high school. I'll pay you $15 a year. Why don't you come take over the Jags as the head coach?"
Phillip Rivers?
Phillip Rivers, yeah. That's not completely crazy.
Oh, it's something the Jags would do. I mean, I like the fact that
it would get people talking about the Jags.
They had those pool parties during the games. That talked about the Jags. They went over to London. That talked about the Jags. They had primetime games in the morning, but it was only to show on TV because they were in London. It does feel as if the Cons are somebody that try to, promote things, get it going. But with this team doing what it's doing, obviously sucking. I mean, we said this about the Miami Dolphins last year, and Gardner Minshew might be the same type of player as Ryan Fitzpatrick, where even if you're trying to suck, Ryan Fitzpatrick's going to win a couple games for you. They were trying to get the number 1 overall pick. They got the number 5 overall pick, and maybe Gardner Minshew's the same person, but everybody in that building has to see the writing on the wall at this point. David Caldwell, who Michael Lombardi, who's former GM, calls David Blaine Caldwell because he's a magician. He sucked for so long somehow, and he's still the GM. Doug Marrone knows that he's got to see the writing on the wall at this point. That whole building has to know, like, oh, this is we just get to kind of have a lame duck year here. It does not matter what we do or say. It will not affect the future because everybody assumes they're going to pick one person. Let's say it's Phillip Rivers. Who says it's not Phillip Rivers? If they're going to pick one person, they're going to be GM, head coach, and they're going to be tasked with rebuilding that entire franchise. And I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know who's going to do it. But it feels like this is a team who is trying to suck more than every other team. And if you're a Jaguars fan, you just got to be like, all right, well, we'll just grit and bear this for another year of suck, and then we'll be good after this. But it's going to take a while to build that thing from top to bottom, and I don't think that's an easy process to do.
No, it's going to be really tough. But what about David Blaine? Did you watch his balloon stunt?
Oh. Yeah. Kind of uneventful.
Honestly, I wasn't highly. I listened to him talk about it, and then all of a sudden I saw it, trending or whatever. So I started watching it. It sucked me in a little bit as he was getting up 18,000 feet. And this guy's like, "Hey, I really need you to get some oxygen." And he's like, "No, I feel fine." I started to get a little worried for him. Then when he cut free and you couldn't hear him, I'm like, "All right, is he conscious? Did he pass out when he was descending or what?" And then all of a sudden, bam, he pops up, he lands, he's good.
Oh, that's how they wanted you to think. I feel like that was they got you. They got you.
They had us. We watched how much money he spent trying to prepare this whole thing, and it's like a 2-year process. He had to have like 500 solo jumps. He became a pilot for hot air balloons, like lighter than air deal. Like he did all kinds of prep just for that moment.
Sure. We talked about this yesterday. We think David Blaine was competing against David Blaine's legacy at that point, right? What this man has done. He's locked himself in an ice cube, I think. He's held his breath underwater. He's done all these insane things. So whenever you watch this one, in your head, you're thinking, David Blaine, this guy will try to fucking kill himself to do something. And then as you're watching it, he's just kind of strapped in to a test airplane that they're flying around with a bunch of balloons. Some of the strings on the balloons, by the way, looked a little loose. And he was dropping bricks out of his pockets. And then we learned about 10 minutes into because we're getting a bit, I'm going to be honest, the office had turned on David Blaine whenever that thing was started. When he was floating around at like 5,000 feet and he was just like chilling and hanging out, and he was dropping bricks out of his pockets. Everybody's like, come on, Dave, what are we doing here? Now he gets up to 24,000 feet. We were impressed because that was very, very high, very, very cold, the whole thing. But at the beginning, we were kind of lost. And then we looked up 12 years ago, a priest in Brazil did this. He strapped himself in, and the last they heard of him was at 17,400 feet. Then like 4 months later, they found half his body on an oil bridge out in the middle of the ocean. So that guy just fucking disappeared, went too high, too quick, too fast. too dead. So then that's when we were kind of like back in it. Oh, wait a minute. Is David Blaine potentially going to go to the stratosphere like Felix Baumgartner? He did not. He got to 24,000 feet. Still impressive, uneventful. It's not in the top 3 or 5 of David Blaine things, but we watched for 47 minutes just like you.
Would have been a lot cooler if
I missed the beginning part.
If he would have got to like 18,000 feet and then the air would have started leaking out of balloons and he would have been in one of those suits with chains and stuff like that.
Oh,
and he had to get all those off before all the balloons were out of air and he would have plummeted to the earth.
To death.
That would have been cool.
Yeah. It was a little uneventful. He was too good. He's too good.
Did you want it to be like the guy the flat earther that built his own rocket and shot himself up?
Mad Mike, take it easy.
Is that what you were looking for?
I will say that after we read about the Brazilian priest that went off into the stratosphere and then didn't come back till a couple months later when they found his lower half on an oil barge thing out at sea or whatever, Ty Schmidt did immediately say, we might have a Mad Mike situation here. We might have a Mad Mike situation. So once we found out that there was a potential death in a death-defying stunt, I think it heightened it a little bit for us. But that next 30 minutes was kind of boring until we got up to 24,000 feet. And we're like, damn, that's pretty cool. Here
we go.
But this is just like, no, it's not. I will not compare him to that sellout.
No.
Nick Wallenda. I hate that guy. Like, I'm sure he's a good guy. I mean, he
might not be.
Who knows?
He might be a prick.
He's a scammer. That guy. There's zero thought that guy's going to die, and they promote it as death-defying. It's like, no, it's not. The guy's going to bungee jump over Niagara Falls or a volcano, which is cool. I think there's like 100,000 kids on the internet that would love to do what he's doing. And then I'm forced to watch it because it's happening and you can't take your eyes off it. And then by the end of it, you're like, fucking hate that guy. But I don't feel like that towards David Blaine. But yesterday did feel a little uneventful because he's so good. Yeah. He's so good.
He is good. Quick question before we go. If that guy got that priest or whatever in Brazil that strapped himself to a balloon and took off and they found his lower body on some oil rig out in the sea, how do you identify the body just from the lower half?
The clothes he was wearing is how they identified him.
Really? 4 months later? Like, hey, I think there was a dude. Remember that guy that strapped himself to a balloon? Maybe this is his legs.
Yeah, I don't know. Who had an eye out, too? He was like, all right, for the next 3 months, let's keep an eye out. We don't know where he's going to be.
For Dockers?
Yeah, I think he was wearing blue jeans, maybe.
There's a bunch of balloons still in his pocket.
Aw, come on.
What?
Tiggs, you're so stupid. So you felt good about that one, though?
No.
Yeah. Yeah. You did.
I don't feel good about anything I do, Pat.
Shea Patterson jersey, so sweet.
It's not Shea Patterson.
Shea Patterson.
Charles Woodson.
Patterson.
Have a little respect. AJ, we'll see you, Mignana. We're back tomorrow at noon. This has been the Pat McAfee Show and McAfee and Hawk. We can't thank you enough. If you enjoyed the show, please tell a friend. If you didn't, just act like it never happened. Big thanks to Lane Kiffin. Hey, Kiffin ain't easy, baby. We got a chance to talk to him, learned a lot about him. Terrell Davis, Phillip Rivers, AJ Hawk, and all of you. You're the best. We'll see you mañana. That's the show. It was a good one, a long one. But that's the show.
The greatest sports talk show on the internet from 1 to 2 Eastern Standard Time. So come on down for a mental vacation with the boys on YouTube Live. It's McAfee and Hawk. It's McAfee and Hawk Sports Talk. AJ used to tackle quarterbacks and he's a Rust Belt kind of guy. That's the punter of the decade for the 2010s, kicking Pierce missiles to the sky. It's McAfee and Hawk. It's McAfee and Hawk Sports Talk. It's McAfee.